Pat Hayden will be the Ram quarterback. The other two, Jaworski and Harris, both out with injury. A semi-rookie will lead the Ram offense. No rookie here is Fran Tarkenton, who owns just about every passing record there is, will quarterback the Minnesota Vikings. A packed house now just set to greet the Minnesota Vikings. No seats available. The atmosphere here is playoff. It is hard to say that every game is a big game, but certainly both these teams, Tom Brookshire, feel it is a very big game.
I mean, you know, after only 1 week, I do think that beating the Falcons, a tough team, the Rams have an advantage coming in against the team that beat New Orleans. Not yet the team that the Falcons were, at least last Sunday.
You saw the Rams last week. What do you think?
Well, Hayden's pretty good average. He has 1 for 1, a 47-yard touchdown pass. But actually, the Rams, if they have to have this young man win by passing, I think they're in trouble. The good ground game should make Pat Hayden's debut much, much better.
And how about the veteran Fran Tarkenton?
In his career, he's beaten the Rams 10 times. And, of course, here at Bloomington, the Vikings have almost been untouchable for the Los Angeles Rams. Tarkenton gives them a lateral position with Foreman that's really tough to defend. They've got to be very careful.
Of course, the game is not all quarterbacks either. There's some great, outstanding defensive players on both teams, and we'll be watching them throughout the afternoon as well.
Well, the pass rush, of course, you have to worry about it. Carl Eller has a broken hand that he's coming back from, and if anybody knows the helmet-slapping technique of the 70s, maybe Eller will not be as effective, but he's still a great basketball player. And here's the F. Lee Bailey of the NFL, Alan Page. Someday he'll be a lawyer. Right now, he's one of the great inside rushers in pro football history, a great inside pass rusher.
The Rams are not without talent either. It's hard to imagine a defensive end any better than Jack Youngblood.
Well, the reason that Jack really and Dreyer, and we're going to see them in just a moment, Youngblood and Dreyer are so effective is that Merlin Olsen and Brooks inside allow the two outside men, Youngblood you see right here, a wild man, and the spiritual leader, Freddie Dreyer, to really cut loose on the pass rush.
Okay, let's go down now and pick up the toss of the coin with referee Fred Silva.
Heads, tails. Receive which way? Will you please reverse? Will receive.
Los Angeles has won the toss. This is Pat Summerall with Tom Brookshire at the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota. And as I mentioned before, playoff atmosphere is here. Both of these teams won last week. Both of them figure to be tough throughout the season. We'll be ready for the start of today's game in just a moment.
I couldn't hear that.
Getting ready for the national anthem now. Colors presented by the color guard from the University of Minnesota ROTC, wearing Army uniforms vintage 1820. National anthem today sung by Holly Callan, accompanied by the La Crosse State University Band.
All right.
Pretty good effort. Color guard leaving what is a very wet end of the field. That end of the field was not covered last night. And in some areas, it is very, very wet. Temperature of 73 degrees, a north wind of 12 miles an hour at the back of Fred Cox, who will kick it off. 20% chance of rain and diminishing. There is head coach Bud Grant of the Minnesota Vikings. Very unemotional gentleman.
But they have an easy way after this football game. The Vikings have what I think to be the easiest, easiest division titleist schedule of all of them. I think they have an easy road from here on till Pittsburgh.
Dwight Scales and Freeman Johns back deep in a position to handle the kick. And it is going to be Freeman Johns at the 6. Pretty good wedge set up. Johns outside the 35 to the 38 before the Vikings pin him down. Stopped by Robert Miller, number 35.
Rookie from SMU, that's Freeman Johns. Again, Fred Cox has been around a long time and is the all-time active scorer, but his kickoffs are pretty short. Let's set that offensive lineup now. You can see Big Doug France at left tackle, Tommy Mack, who's been there for 11 years at left guard, Rich Saul at center, Dennis Harrow, the big second-year right guard, and, of course, John Williams right here from the University of Minnesota at right tackle.
And that's the backfield. Pat Hayden from USC is the quarterback, backed by John Capoletti and Lawrence McCutcheon. And Capoletti gets the call and gets about 8 yards.
That's what the Rams want to do, though, Pat. They do not want to have to throw. They would like to use Capoletti and McCutcheon, much like they did a week ago. That time, it looked to me like the Vikings overran it, that Viking defense, and Cappy, like you say, started for about 8. There's Eller, Sutherland, the Thrasher. Of course, Alan Page and Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall. That's the secondary. You saw the linebackers, and that's the way they'll stack up throughout most of the game. Second down play for the Rams, and Hayden gives again to Capoletti. He ran into his offensive guard, and the Vikings stack it up. He ran into Dennis Harrow, who held up getting out.
Had a little trouble with Alan Page, too. They ran an over defense, which means that Alan Page was on Rich Saul's nose. I don't know if you've ever seen Alan Page up close, but that's scary to have him right on your nose.
He does get close.
He's offsides, I think, coming out.
And so quick off the ball. A loss of about 3. It's 3rd and 6 now. The opening minutes of the game between the Rams and the Vikings. Perhaps Pat Hayden's first pass of this game. He threw only one last week. No pass. It's Capoletti. He's hit by Page just as he got underway. He collided with Hayden, and the Rams will have to punt. Rusty Jackson will come in. Doug Sutherland finally made the stop.
I think there was a chance they could have called illegal procedure. It looked to me like McCutcheon had taken a false step and didn't quite come to a hold on his stance. By the way, this young Jackson, the rookie, really did a great job of punting last week against the Falcons, but he takes about 3 steps, Pat, and look out for a rush by the Vikes before this one's over.
Leonard Willis is the lone safety man for Minnesota. Rusty Jackson to punt a bad snap. He got it on the hop and got away a respectable kick. Fair catch signal. Let's see, put up the hand. That was Autry Beeman, the backup safety man for Minnesota, and Tarkenton. And the Vikings offensive unit will take it over. We'll run down the offensive line for you in just a second and also check out the Ram defense. Here's the offensive line for Minnesota. Steve Riley, Chuck Goodrum, Mick Tingeloff, Ed White, and Ron Yeary. A veteran group there, too. There's the backfield.
McClanahan, Foreman, of course, Fran Tarkin. He's been there forever. Lash, Voigt, and Sammy White.
Sammy White, the rookie. Throw back across the field to McClanahan. With Tingeloff out in front. He's up to the 40-yard line on first down. A pickup of about 8. Tarkenton against the grain right off the bat.
Boy, Butch Robertson makes a super play at the right linebacking spot. Or that is a big gainer. Super play. Jack Youngblood, of course, and Dreyer at the ends. Merlin Olsen and Larry Brooks inside. 2 very fine professionals. Reynolds, Hacksaw in the middle with Rick Kay at left. And Butch Robertson, who just made a tackle just in at right. There's the secondary.
And a pretty good secondary it is.
It's quick.
Sammy White goes in motion on second down, and Chuck Foreman gets the carry. Wrapped up by Youngblood, stopped finally by Brooks. Not first down yardage. Foreman just barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
Might keep in mind that the Rams do have Rick Kay and Monty Jackson and Perry, two young cornerbacks. Perhaps the Vikings will try to do the sprint out that Fran is so famous for, where he'll sprint out and then unload it to Foreman in the flat, or maybe hand off the way they do on that misdirection play back inside.
3rd and 3. No pickup by Foreman on that last carry. Foreman again to the outside, does not get it. Jack Reynolds and Isaiah Robertson on the stop.
Ran right at Freddie Dreyer. We were talking before the game. Freddie's only about 220 pounds at 6'6", but plays the run a lot better than a lot of people would like to admit. He is not what you would think of as a giant defensive end.
Not enough for first down for Minnesota on their first offensive series. So Neil Clavo. And back deep for the Rams, Jim Bertelsen, number 45. He is the good hands. Rarely does he fumble. Clavo. Bertelsen will handle at the 17. And swings to the outside. He had a wall set up that's very slippery on that end of the field, and that's what caused Bertelsen to go down so quickly. So, with 10 minutes and 56 seconds left in the first period, each team's had the ball once, and we have no score. Minnesota against Los Angeles. If you go back and reflect on that first offensive series, Tom, I guess you would expect both teams to be a little conservative, be a little tight in a game of this magnitude this early in the year.
Well, I think both teams are good running ball clubs, and I think they have to, get out of the idea that they got to have 3rd and long. Both teams like to take it, go 80 yards, eat up your clock, and put something on the board at the end of a long drive. And so far, neither one of them's gotten a drive at all.
The first series the Rams had on 3rd and long yardage, Pat Hayden elected not to throw the ball. Of course, as the afternoon progresses, he is going to have to make that choice sometime.
Hayden, by the way, is not calling his own plays. He's being signaled from the sidelines, with Chuck Knox having the veto vote. But I don't think he would exercise it. Both coaches like to delegate authority, and they do it very well.
And there, of course, one of the defensive stalwarts of the Minnesota defensive unit, Alan Page. Ram first down with the ball on their own 24-yard line. No score as yet. Each team has won one offensive series. Back to Cappelletti again from Hayden. Cappelletti got some good blocking. He looks like a very strong runner.
He's a strong runner. He's carrying 222 or 221 pounds, but I like the way he cuts back. Some backs have a natural instinct to find it where it is, and Cappy seems to have that. Good block by Hara.
Jeff Wright finally made the tackle, and that's what you don't like to have happen too often, when those safety men have to run into a tank like Cappelletti. 2nd and 3.
199. 199.
Cappy gets the carry again. This time he's wrapped up by Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker.
Seaman might play the run as well as any middle linebacker in football. Number 50. Out of Stanford, very bright. Has to cover up a lot because Page does a lot of freelancing on his own, but is excellent against the run.
Here comes backup tight end Terry Nelson. It's 3rd and about a yard, and a nice welcome on the scoreboard for us. This, of course, our doubleheader game, and for all the audience, we think we got a pretty good product. 3rd and 1. Cappelletti again, and this time he does get the first down yardage. Cornerback Nate Allen came up and helped out, but there's the indication from referee Fred Silva that Cappelletti got enough. No carries, strangely enough, by McCutcheon as yet.
Well, McCutcheon did a great job of blocking last week for it, but watch this short yardage and watch how Cappelletti controls the ball. He's not thinking about going 80 yards. He's keeping both arms wrapped around that ball, and it's a good thing. The Vikings can really strip you. I don't mean of your clothes, but of the ball occasionally.
Nate Allen and Jeff Wright made the tackle. It's first down Rams, the ball at their own 35-yard line.
I've seen them take some clothes, too, now that I've thought about it.
I think you're right. It's back to McCutcheon. Breaks one tackle and slips down. I believe it was Wally Hilgenberg that came back and hit McCutcheon. He's still down.
It is Wally Hilgenberg. Now watch the left part of your screen. This is a toss, a straight toss back. Saul's in the center position blocking. Cappelletti has not been able to get into the play, and Hilgenberg was across very early. Actually, McCutcheon just ran on the sides of his shoes where there are no cleats, right?
And just simply slipped down. Hilgenberg tried to get up and couldn't. Went back down on his knees again. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings, and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, there's a great 13-year veteran. You know, he came here from Pittsburgh, actually, after graduating from Iowa, and he has just played the greatest football. In fact, his interception a couple of years ago kept the Rams from winning the championship right in this very stadium.
Right. Never forget that game. A playoff game. It'll be second down. About a 5-yard loss on that pitch back to McCutcheon. 2nd and 15 will make it with 8:46 left in the first period. Roy Winston is one of the linebackers now, replacing Hilgenberg. Matt Blair on the other side.
And Bertelson is in the backfield for the Rams for the first time in 2 weeks.
2nd and 15, Hayden takes the pass outside, gives back to McCutcheon. McCutcheon cuts back, got good yardage, and breaks 2 or 3 more tackles. At least 13 by McCutcheon on that reverse.
One of the great blocking jobs, and if you young people are thinking about it, I want you to watch Jim Bertelson. Watch Bertelson make this block to the top of your screen now. He'll get Carl Eller going out, which he should do because Keller sees it's the reverse around. And just to the left of there, you'll see Bertelson stay with the block. This is called continuing the play. And, of course, McCutcheon is such a super savvy runner. He picked it up and cut back inside.
Bertelson got right up in his face and stayed there. That's a heck of an effort. 3rd and 1. Capoletti gets the call again, and he got the first down, almost broken. But an effort by Capoletti.
Now, he was trying to get a yard, and like you said, he almost got about 58, didn't he? Once in a while, a short yardage defense has everybody in one line, and if you break that thin line, it's a dash. Again, I don't think Cappy was thinking about that, or he might have been able to recover.
He got about 2 or 3 yards with one hand on the ground completely. McCutcheon and Capoletti both gained over 100 yards rushing last week against Atlanta, and that's the kind of balance you really need. First down, Los Angeles, the ball at the Minnesota 47. Capoletti again. Workhorse. Takes inside, went back outside, and got first down yardage again.
Boy, McCutcheon did a great job of sealing off on the outside. And let's just take a look and see where Blair, the linebacker, goes. You're behind the defense now. Cappy steps inside. Jeff Siemens cut off. You see by the tight end Klein. Another dip. This time the block was by Harold Jackson, and Capoletti runs like a halfback.
Built like a fullback. Look at Chuck Knox's career record. Capoletti's carried 8 times already for pickups of 38 yards. First down, Los Angeles. The ball at the Minnesota 31. Jesse comes in motion. McCutcheon gets the carry. He broke a tackle. Matt Blair hit him. McCutcheon kept his balance and got about 8 or 9 yards. Watch that balance again.
He's in absolutely no hurry at all. Watch number 30. Watch the move now. Blair has him, and Blair's a super football player. Look at this. McCutcheon's in no hurry. There's no panic. And great success. Boy, they've got a tandem of running backs, I'll tell you.
Though, 2nd and 2 will make it. Word from the Viking bench is that Wally Hilgenberg is fine. No problem. We'll see that he'll be back. Hayden gets to McCutcheon again. McCutcheon has a first down for Los Angeles. Stopped again by Paul Proud.
And this time it was Capoletti blocking for McCutcheon.
Hilgenberg, by the way, is back in the game already. So obviously he is okay. First down, Los Angeles. The ball now at the Minnesota 18. We have just over 6 minutes left in the first period. Bud Grant.
And really hasn't been able to put any pressure on the rookie quarterback. Yet.
Has not thrown a pass yet. First down for Pat Hayden and the Los Angeles offensive unit. To Capoletti again, and Cappy's straight ahead bangs into the secondary down inside the 10-yard line. Hit by Jeff Wright. He dragged him about 3 yards, close to a first down.
Well, Hara and Williams, the tackle and the guard on that right side, are doing such a good job of handling Sutherland and Eller. Look to the left of your screen. Saul just turns the nose man inside. Well, there's a tremendous block on Seaman. And seldom have I ever seen such big holes for the Vikings up front.
Tom Mack is doing a heck of a job on Alan Page. Page has made some tackles, but they've all been about 10 yards downfield. First down, Los Angeles.
Take a look at it. This is inside football. It's not cute. It's not fancy. It's effective. Fullback follows the halfback in. Tough.
Mack pulled that time, cut up through the hole, and cut down Jeff Seaman. Capoletti now with 48 yards on 9 carries. He and McCutcheon are the running back tandem for the Rams. First and goal at the 8. Capoletti the call again. Nothing doing this time. Carl Eller stacked it up. Matt Blair made the seal.
Cappy might have missed the hole a little bit. That time he tried to slide outside. McCutcheon couldn't give him much help. Look what happens to Lawrence McCutcheon to the left of your screen now. Number 30 leads it. He gets knocked back into the fullback. Cappy slides off, and Sutherland makes a super play on defense.
So it's still second and goal now. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. Period. The Rams are knocking at the door. McCutcheon shoots to the outside, cuts back to about the 6-yard line. Nate Wright and Doug Sutherland on the stop. Sutherland, you talked about him before, Tommy. They call him the Thrasher. All he does is create confusion.
I don't know. I just have a feeling the intimidation factor of taking this drive right on down without throwing a pass and getting either 3 or 7 points would be very, very strong indeed if the Rams could pull this one off.
I would think so. You're looking closely at Pat Hayden now. It is third and goal. Miller close to it. Hayden back to pass is running. He's inside the 5 to the 2-yard line. Perhaps down to the 1, maybe even closer than that.
He passes very well.
He does.
I tell you one thing, he put it away, and obviously a Rhodes Scholar is not going to do anything that isn't intelligent, but he puts it away early enough. Now it's all covered. Sometimes you might want to throw that person, right? He puts it away, gets away from Alan Page, and almost gets killed at the goal line, but almost scores, too.
They have put the ball down at the 1-yard line. The Rams are not going field goal. They're going for it. And the crowd at Bloomington took the line. Fourth and goal at the 1. Bertelson's in the backfield. But Capoletti gets the carry, but does not make it. Minnesota ball. Stopped by Nate Allen and Jim White, the number 1 draft choice.
Watch Nate Allen now, number 25. And Capoletti at 222 doesn't make it.
A very impressive-looking drive by the Los Angeles Rams, but they get nothing out of that. And you can only do that so many times. Bud Grant obviously very happy about it. The Rams took the ball 75 yards in 14 plays and got no score.
Nate Allen is only 175 pounds, and he pulled Capoletti away from that goal line like he's been bell pressing about 450.
He's been doing a good job playing in place of the regular Bobby Bryant, who has a broken arm. And Bobby Bryant is going to have a tough time getting his job back. Chuck Knox, there's Pat Hayden talking with Kenny Meyer on the sideline right now.
We'll watch Kenny Meyer closely. He is actually the man that signals the quarterback with that offensive play the next time they get the ball.
So Minnesota has the ball after stopping that drive by Los Angeles. Let's check out some of the other scores. New England upset Miami 30-14. Very impressive fashion. 15-0 St. Louis over Green Bay. That's not a final. Chicago 7-0 over San Francisco in the first period. I've seen Tarkenton throw from here, and does. Outside in the direction of McClanahan. Isaiah Robertson right with it.
All right, now where would the impetus be, Pat? You think by taking it down and giving it to Fran even on the 2-yard line that it's still with the Rams? Or do you feel like because the defense did such a good job that now the Vikings feel like they can do a little turn on here?
You got to be a little depressed if you're the Rams after taking the ball that long, that far. They got to lose some of their momentum. But on the other hand, if they can hold the Vikings here and make a punt out of the end zone, they still get the ball back in pretty good shape.
Here's that new double wing formation that Grant's been using quite a bit.
Got White and Lash on the same side, Tarkenton outside Chuck Foreman. Out to the 5, they got a little breathing room. He got up to the 6, but not too much. Bill Simpson and Isaiah Robertson over close.
Now the double wing allows this man, number 44 Foreman, to not only be a great receiver, but they're telling you he's a great receiver right away. And Ahmad Rashad, we might see him come on for Mike Grant too. He used to be Bud Grant. He used to be called Bobby Moore, I believe, in the old days, right?
Right. It's 3rd and 4 now. We have 2.5 minutes left first period. No scores yet. And Tarkenton has never lost to the Rams at Minnesota. Outside he goes again. This time for Nash, and he got the first down. Just enough before he made his cut. Well, now they say maybe not.
Ball was underthrown, but Lash came back and took it in good shape.
Tarkenton coming over for a look. I was sure that he had the first down, but I was also premature.
That's Rod Perry's position, the rookie from Colorado for the Rams, probably laying off of Lash a little bit. Let's take a look at the last play and see how Fran's throwing and how Lash is catching. Here's the drop back. He doesn't drop back too much, does he? Fran gets it on the way. He loads it up. It's low and away, and the hitter comes up with it.
First down yardage, the ball out at the 11. They just barely got it. The running backs still McClanahan and Foreman. Just 2 minutes left in the first period. No score. McClanahan bangs for trouble. But the Rams are awfully tough in that direction with Merlin Olsen and Larry Brooks in the middle of things.
Brooks might be the most underrated defensive tackle. He's probably going to go to the Pro Bowl for the rest of his life, but I'm just telling you, Larry Brooks makes that whole defensive line for the Rams tick. He's very smooth, never overcommits number 90. And that time when Goodrum tried to go over and put a trap block on Olsen, he dragged Brooks right into the play, no gain.
It is 2nd down now as Tarkenton brings his offensive unit out. Look, it's Sammy White, a rookie from Grambling, and he's the man that they hope will take the place of John Gilliam. He's been coming on.
Oh, he's really fast. He was a great ball carrier at Grambling. He averaged like 8 yards a rush, and he's only 5'11", about 185 pounds. But we saw him beat the Cincinnati Bengals late, and he caught a pass after a Tarkenton scramble last week for another touchdown. You're right, he's quite a player.
Just 55 seconds left now in the first period as Tarkenton has his offensive unit out. On 1st and 10, the ball at the 26. Foreman gets the call, comes back to the inside, can go nowhere. Looks like Fred Dreyer came from the outside and got him around the feet.
Let's take a close-up look at Dreyer and see how he is after first period down there. Freddie Dreyer.
Do you think anybody's ever had a real close look at him?
He loves to play football, you know. I think Sundays are a lot more fun for Freddie than the rest of the week.
He just loves life.
There he is. Look at him. 6'6", about 219, maybe.
And very, very quick. 2nd down, 2nd and 8. Tarkenton gives to Foreman, and Foreman cut right up the middle. Jack Reynolds and Rick Kay made the tackle.
Looks like the Vikes are getting pretty good initial holes opened up in the Rams, but those linebackers are plugging them very quickly.
So that's the end of the first quarter. There is no score. One Ram drive dominated most of the first quarter. They took it 75 yards and got no points. Los Angeles and Minnesota, 2 teams that have dominated their respective divisions in the last few years. The Vikings almost always atop the Central Division, and the Rams for the last 3 after the West, the NFC West, belonged to San Francisco for a while. The Rams the last 3 years since Chuck Knox has been there have been alone at the top.
Notice the Rams changed their hotel up here in Bloomington for this game this time, figuring that maybe it was just the water or food or atmosphere or what. They haven't won up here in a while. And Fran, by the way, is tremendously effective against this great defense. 35 touchdowns in the 17 games that he's played against the Los Angeles Rams.
As always, a great crowd on hand, a sellout crowd, as you would expect for a game of this magnitude. Not all of them are sitting down.
That looks like a rock group sitting up there with those funny-looking hats. You see that group up in that stands there?
They were in the parking lot early today. It is third down as Fred Dreyer looks at what the Ram defensive unit has challenging it right now. Third down and 6. The ball at the Minnesota 30. They took it over at the 1. Parkinson back. Oh, hang on. Very close by was Monty Jackson.
Good thing that Monty Jackson stuck that paw in there. Tarkenton swung both halfbacks that time. Here's a close game. Baltimore and Cincinnati still knocking in the 4th period. Butch Robertson took and left, and it was wide open had it not been for the young cornerback Jackson.
On 4th down, Neil Playboy will punt for the Vikings. Jim Bertelsen back in single safety for Los Angeles. Playboy hung a high one. Bertelsen will field and try to return. He's at the 35. He gets outside. He's at the 40. Close to midfield is Jim Bertelsen, the steady one from Texas. So the Rams will take it over in reasonably good field position, just inside the 50-yard line, where Pat Hayden leads the offensive unit onto the field.
As a Sir Walter Raleigh smoker, I notice younger fellas enjoy Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic. Maybe because gals enjoy it too. What about a guy whose big thrill is hot soup? For me, it's taste. Quality tobaccos, flavored with 3 fine liqueurs. Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic tastes as good as it smells. What more could I ask?
George, your soup is hot.
The quality pipe tobaccos of America.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m., CBS Sports Spectacular will feature the International Superbike Championship in Monterey, California, where an international field of motorcycle stars challenge America's most demanding road course. A filmed report on the American Mount Everest expedition. The $100,000 added Belle Dame from Belmont Park in New York. The Italian Grand Prix and a live pre-fight interview with Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Sometimes you have to take things into your own hands on the football field. Brian Hall took things into his own hands recently and probably saved Kevin Butler's life. After his friend severely cut an artery in his arm, Brian used his Boy Scout training to quickly stop the bleeding. The Boy Scouts, another agency that benefits from your support of the United Way. Thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way.
The preceding public service announcement was brought to you on behalf of the National Football League.
In the first period, the Vikings had it 4:59. On 1st down, Los Angeles, McCutcheon gets the call from Hayden. Nothing doing.
Great defensive play by Sutherland. The Thrasher chased the play. Eller sort of straightened it up a little bit with Blair's help. I tell you, Williams does a great job at offensive right tackle for the Rams, too. They're just so many good players that Knox has, but no superstars. Huh? Funny, huh?
You could really say that about both teams. They're very, very deep, both of them.
They're not double parked. Maybe that's the reason they play so well, so hard.
2nd down, about a 2-yard pickup. Hayden back to pass and throws to McCutcheon, who's wide open in the middle. He's down to the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Plenty of yards for a 1st down before he's stopped by Nate Allen.
Pretty good ball handling by young Pat Hayden, the kid from West Covina. He puts both backs into the passing play. Now watch him fake first to the fullback. Here's the play now. There goes Capoletti through to draw the linebacker outside, and McCutcheon followed him right across the middle and turned it up. You can see that the trailing back had a lot of extra running room, and number 30 isn't shabby at all once he gets his hands on it.
I'll say he is out getting a rest right now. Capoletti and Bertelsen, the running back tandem. The offensive tackle, Doug Krantz, I believe, moved for Los Angeles. Flags are down all over the place. That'll be the first penalty of the game.
That Krantz is so big. Let's listen to it here.
False start.
Doug
False
France is so
start.
big. He ran by our camera on the sidelines, and you could tell that something was moving in the area that caused it to be disturbed. He is real, but he's not ponderous. He's got good speed.
I thought it was sundown when he went by. He blocks out everything. First and 15, the ball at the 39-yard line of Minnesota now. And Capoletti gets the carry and gets some good yardage. Boy, you get everything he's got to offer, don't you?
Every day of the week, and the great thing, we've said it a lot, is that he was patient. When Chuck Knox said, you know, I'd like to use you, kid, but even though you're #1 draft choice and you've won the Maxwell Award and the Heisman Award, I got a lot of good people out here. Just sit and wait, and he waited. This is his 3rd year, and now he is the man in there with McCutcheon.
Right now, it's Bertelsen. It is 2nd and 8 with 12:55 left before the half. No scores yet. Fake to Bertelsen. Hayden comes out. Capoletti picked off by Matt Blair, the linebacker, lateral back. Blair made the interception. Lateral back to right. Matt Blair, a 6-foot 5-inch linebacker from Iowa State. Watch it again.
Here's the Cardinal sin. The young quarterback tries to just float it, and Blair reached up and picked it up. Blair, of course, is 6 foot 3.5 from Iowa State, and almost made a very dangerous lateral. Blair almost gave it back.
Jeff Wright was able to hang on, and the Vikings take over at their own 45-yard line. The crowd comes alive. First and 10 for Tarkenton, and he's going to throw. Rolling right is Sanchez. Throwing in the middle. The mystery tight end. About a 9-yard pickup. Stopped by Jack Reynolds, the middle linebacker.
Again, the Vikings are not a laterally adept football team, but with Franz sprinting out and throwing back and this kind of nitpicking, as we call it, they can drive a good defensive club crazy. And Reynolds, by the way, really sticks Mr. Voigt.
2nd and 1. Foreman and McClanahan behind Tarkenton. McClanahan gets the call. Maybe he got a first down, but not much more. Met by Larry Brooks in the middle of the Ram defense.
How about Mick Tingeloff doing a great job down there blocking. Had a bad shoulder last week, but still decided to play. Now, he started 288 consecutive games, preseason, postseason, the whole thing here.
That is absolutely incredible. He and Jim Marshall both have got some remarkable statistics about consecutive games played. Marshall will tie George Blanda today, by the way.
There's Tingeloff. I think he's got kids that are about ready to be drafted.
On first down, Tarkenton goes deep in the direction of flag. Flag slips in. Oh, Sammy White, and take it back. Flag is on the other side of the field. There he is, number 82. It's going to be an interference call against the Los Angeles Rams, Rod Perry.
Perry's the young defensive back from Colorado. It looked to me like the ball was thrown, you know, in a lot of haste by Tarkenton. Watch Tarkenton slip. But he has the young man going up. He slips and throws a bad ball. But underneath there, young Perry must have tripped him. Boy, the official's right on top of it. Even if it's not intentional, it's trippy.
Ball goes down to the 15-yard line of Los Angeles. After that pass interference call against Rod Perry, it's first down Vikings. We have 11 minutes and 15 seconds left before the half. No scores yet. Tarkenton back again. Looks to the outside. He might take off with it. Waving people around, and down he goes. Larry Brooks behind him.
Don't tell me Tarkenton doesn't know what's going on out there. He gave it about 4 seconds, and when Thames fell down around him, Franz says, "Are you kidding? I've got a TV career in front of me. I got a lot of things going."
You get the impression that Tarkenton knows exactly where all 22 players are on every play.
I guess that's the reason that he hasn't been hurt. We always say, how can you be the scrambler and not be injured? But these guys have been chasing him around like others for 16 years, and they ain't got him yet.
Worst thing can happen to you is play the Vikings on a hot day. You're a defensive lineman. You're going to spend much of that day chasing him around. 2nd and 12. Back again. Outside, White. And White gets out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds by Rod Perry.
The corners are not tall for the Rams now. Rod Perry, the young man that just made that tackle and had that interference, is only 5'9". Monty Jackson is only 5'11" at the other corner, so they do not have height. They have instinct there, and they have quickness. Right now, the brain trust for the Vikings are going to try to take advantages of whatever they can find.
Rams take out Rick Kay and bring in an extra defensive back. Pat Thomas comes in.
It's the biggest play so far, Patrick, right now.
3rd and 11. Ball at the Rams 16. Parking it back. Outside in the direction of White, nothing doing there. And I would imagine we will see the doctor, Fred Cox.
The old chiropractor will come in. And by the way, they tell me that he's been trying to work on some of the Vikings, and the team doctor is almost having him thrown out of the training room. He'll hang you by your thumbs, you know, but he's been a great kicker and now is the all-time scorer among active players in the National Football League history.
So Paul Krause will hold. You put it down at the 23. You add the 10 because the goalpost is back. Of course, it's 33 yards for Fred Cox. The right direction. He got it. 55 yards in 5 plays for the Minnesota Vikings, capped off by a 33-yard field goal by Fred Cox. Cox will kick it off for the Vikings in the direction of Freeman Johns, Wright Scales, and Cullen Bryant. Off the side of the foot, it's going to go out of bounds. They'll back up 5. Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m., CBS Sports Spectacular will present an exciting show featuring the International Superbike Championship from Laguna Seca Speedway in Monterey, California, where an international field of motorcycle stars challenge America's most demanding road course. Also a film report on the American Mount Everest expedition, the $100,000 ad at Beldame for mares and fillies, 3-year-olds and up, from Belmont Park in New York, and the Italian Grand Prix, where Nicky Lauda makes his return to racing, and also a live pre-fight interview with Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton, all coming up next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Ali and Norton live? You think they can test a deal like that and try it?
That's a full afternoon. Fred Cox goes back to the 30.
He is not kicking the ball real deep on these kickoffs, which could give the Rams a decent run back.
Freeman Johns moves up, and again it's the Stritter. This is Dwight Scales with the ball back. Scales struggling, trying to find some running room, gets back to about the 31-yard line. He is stopped by Chuck Eckern, I believe. He's done a heck of a job on special teams for the Rams in 2 weeks.
Pat Hayden's got those funny-looking stats. He's now 1 touchdown pass a week ago, 1 attempted pass that he ran down to the 1-foot line, and then 1 interception, right?
Dallas and New Orleans in the 4th period. The Cowboys, who rolled last week, are doing it again. Hank Stram, our old buddy, is having a tough time with the New Orleans Saints on 1st down. Hayden gives to Capoletti. Capoletti runs into Eller and Blair. There's nothing doing. Jeff Seaman also helped.
The Vikes really seal it off that time. No more dipping to the inside and getting to the outside like the Rams did in that 1st period. Blair and Eller that time just stood their ground and sealed it off.
They lead 3-0.
Remember now, Ron Jesse and Jackson, the 2 receivers that are now split, are excellent. But Hayden may not want to open up down his own field.
Jackson is right, Jesse is left. Hayden brings it back to Capoletti. Capoletti gets about 6. At 2 years arrest, he had Muhammad handy. To keep working him like this. Denver 6-3 over the Jets in the 1st period. Jeff Seaman made that last tackle. We have 9 minutes and 20 seconds left before the half. Minnesota leads 3-0.
3rd down and almost 5. Will Hayden throw? That is our question.
Capoletti and McCutcheon behind him. That's Pat Hayden. McCutcheon looks for a 1st down. You see him take a look over at the marker just as he's on the way down to see if he had enough. Just depends on the judgment of the official where they mark it. Right now, it doesn't appear that he did get enough.
Oh, that was a good tackle and a sure tackle.
Not even close enough to measure. McCutcheon still standing there arguing, looking.
Nate Allen made a super tackle on number 25. That's 2 of them. The one on the goal line was by number 25. And watch this play. Again, Hayden's a little tight throwing the ball. We watched him warming up. He wasn't, but he's already thrown an interception. He sort of forced this one. He could have zipped that ball a little bit, too. Good defensive stand there by the Vikes.
Carl Eller was looking down at him just as he let it go. Rusty Jackson in the kick.
Tennessee tight, yep.
It's going to be Willis at the 18. Around the corner. Oh, tackle made by Kevin McQueen. And if he hadn't got the hand, the Vikings had something set up there. With 8:29 left before the half, it is 3-0 Minnesota.
We just moved into an apartment.
We're married.
We want to paint our living room.
Use Benjamin Moore's Regal Wall Satin. Great latex paint.
Honey, I decided to get Regal Wall Satin. It's great latex paint.
Is it hard to put on?
Are you kidding?
Is it washable?
Of course.
A Benjamin Moore dealer makes sure you get everything you need.
I didn't know you knew so much about paint.
See your Benjamin Moore dealer. He offers you more.
Maybe you're using Desenex, but to kill the fungus that causes the burning, cracking, and itching of athlete's foot, new Aftate is better, much better. It's the killer. Aftate kills all major types of athlete's foot fungus and helps prevent reinfection. In fact, the medication in Aftate has been proven more effective in killing athlete's foot fungus than the medication in Desenex. New Aftate is better, much better. It's the killer.
Rock star Alice Cooper and a host of CBS stars will be on hand for the brand new Tony Orlando and Dawn Rainbow Hour, premiering Tuesday at 8, 7 Central.
The offensive unit of the Minnesota Vikings led by Fran Tarkenton. That's the book on him so far. He always has good stats. Ball at the 28-yard line. Flanagan gets the call. Nothing doing as Larry Brooks around his feet almost as soon as he got the ball.
Number 90's got a bad ankle, but as we've said earlier, boy, he can really play the line of scrimmage. And he and Olsen sort of play it like two big piano players. Not much penetration. There's sort of a team in there so that they don't overextend themselves, and the linebackers can really play behind these two.
There's Brooks, number 90.
Look at the size of that face mask. That's the darndest thing I've ever seen.
Got to be strong just to hold up that helmet. 2nd and 10. Deep in the direction of Sammy White, and White broke off the pattern. He didn't do what Francis thought he was going to do.
Monty Jackson fell down that time, but as any old defensive back will tell you, they don't drop a flag and give you anything when you fall down. That receiver falls down,
like
they take you to jail.
To me, like some defensive back has told me that somewhere.
That's right.
That's somewhere all with Tom Brookshire.
Should be some kind of an old fraternity for guys that have been knocked around playing corner, you know? There is.
Where is it?
Your corner saloon, right? I do.
Are you a member? 3rd and 10 now. Pullman out on the flank by himself, trying to get back to Flanagan. Merlin Olsen penetrated and took him down almost as soon as he got the handoff from Tarkenton, and Flaybo and the punting unit come in. Bertelson goes back deep along with Freeman John.
Where did he come from to make that tackle? That's the quickest I've seen Merlin move, and he's only been playing for 15 years, right?
Picking up speed. 3rd down efficiency for neither team has been really outstanding. Neil Flaybo standing at about the 12.5-yard line. Bertelson and Johns deep for the Rams. Good kick. Going to be Bertelson. Going to be Johns. As soon as he caught the ball, Quinlan Hall was right on top of him. They did a little Alphonse and Gaston over who was going to handle the ball, and they were lucky that they didn't come out of that with a fumble. Quinlan Hall made a great play. 3-0 Vikings.
Insulation is cheaper than oil. Look, Here's a few $100s worth of Pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Add a 6 to 12-inch blanket to an average uninsulated attic, and look what you'll save on heating and cooling in the next 20 years. Depending on where and how you live, anywhere from $1,000 up to $5,000 in oil, gas, or electricity. Get Pink Owens Corning fiberglass insulation, the best way to cut energy costs. Insulation is cheaper than oil.
When America needed a better idea, Ford put it on wheels.
October 1st, Ford Pinto kicks up its heels with sporty new styling front and back, a sporty suspension for nimble handling, and new exciting options like rally instruments and a flip-up removable roof. Test one October 1st.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
The Rams out of the offensive huddle. The ball at their own 30-yard line. The Vikings lead it 3-0 with 7 minutes and 3 seconds left before the half. Pat Hayden, still the Ram quarterback. That's in the sweeper. Got good yardage before the pursuit cut him off. Matt Blair came out.
Klein is such a super blocker, number 80, the big tight end. Maybe the best blocker of all the tight ends. It's open, of course, for debate with Charlie Young and people like that around. But number 80 that time got the initial block on the outside. And that time they got Williams around the corner and Harrah around the corner. And, of course, they got the ball carrier around the corner.
And got 8 yards with that ball carrier. So it's 2nd and 2. Apollotti bangs into the secondary. Big John is running like a horse.
Boy, they're taking Carl Eller on that one and standing him up. Let's take a look at it now. Here's the way they call the offensive play. See if we can figure it out. There's the man upstairs calling it down, making all kinds of signals. They can wipe it off. They can make it a live call or a... I'll tell you one thing, I'm confused just watching them try to make it.
Whatever, it worked. It's a first down for Los Angeles. The ball inside Minnesota territory now at the 48. Hayden, McCutcheon. McCutcheon tried to cut back, slipped down. Finally stopped by Nate Wright. It's been so long since they had any rain up in this part of the country. They didn't cover the end of the field on which they're playing right now. They covered the infield, the baseball infield. So down in here, it's very wet and very slippery. In some spots, water is standing.
Harold Jackson, by the way, is used as a decoy a lot. The speed, he ran the up that time and into the post and allowed McCutcheon to find a lot of room to catch that one.
Rams have 100 yards rushing. Minnesota has just 9. Cappelletti struggling. Met by Jeff Seaman and Alan Page. That's the way they get the message to Pat Hayden. From the man up in the booth upstairs to the coach on the sideline, and then Kenny Meyer, the coach, signals out to Pat Hayden.
They do the same thing on defense. Through Tommy Catlin upstairs down to Malavasi on the sidelines.
2nd and 9 now. 4:40 left before halftime. Here's Hayden back with good protection this time. Now it starts to break down. He gets away from Sutherland. Fires deep in the direction of Cappelletti. Cappelletti had a couple of steps, but way over his head.
Hayden made a good scramble, but threw that one halfway to Santa Monica, right? Hey, the young kid did exactly what Fran Tarkinen did about 15 years ago, breaking in. Cappy's no way he could have climbed a ladder and even gotten close to it.
So it's going to be 3rd and 9 for that young man.
Look at these young people you're looking at here. France in his 2nd year. Horton in his 2nd year out of Colorado. We're talking about quality players. And the Rams gave up on a couple of quarterbacks, Hadel and Gabriel, and traded them off for #1 draft choices, and they have real quality.
The speed receivers come to the right together. Jackson and Jesse on the same side. Freeman Johns on the other side. On 3rd and 9. Hayden has spread out. Marshall was after him. He's going to try to run for that first down, and no way. He got about to the 30. There's Hayden. Those of you watching the Dallas-New Orleans game, welcome to Minnesota. And a game game between the Rams and the Vikings. That's the final score now. Dallas 24, New Orleans 6. Cowboys have given up just 13 points in 2 weeks.
They said that Hayden got up the other day at hazing, and when he was supposed to sing his school song, they said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Hayden." They said, "What school?" And he said, "Oxford University."
Do they have a school song?
I don't think so. They...
The Colonel Bogey March. From way out will Tom Dempsey. With Steve Kreese holding, Dempsey will not get it there. Off to the left and short. And the ball, of course, now comes back to the original line of scrimmage, which is the 30.5-yard line, where Tarkenton and the Vikings take it over. They have picked up just 9 yards rushing against the Rams, but they lead 3-0.
Scared you about the Vikes is last week. They ran 80-some-odd plays against New Orleans and had 24 chances for third down conversions. Boy, that's really long drives. Those are time-consuming plays and drives by this team right here.
Tarkenton has White to the left and Lash to the right. He's going to throw. McClanahan drags Rick Kay with him for about 8.
Now let's take a look at the offensive right side now. Yeri, number 73, against Youngblood, trying to keep him inside, and does. And then hangs on a little bit, and down goes Youngblood. Of course, Youngblood does talk to the other quarterback a lot. Some of the things he says we do not want to pick up.
3 minutes left on second down. 3 minutes before the half. Minnesota leads 3-0. Chuck Foreman tries to get to the outside. Couple jukes. Foreman got about 6, and more than enough for a first down before Rick Kay, the linebacker, made the stop.
Good recovery by Kay, but a real good block on him by McClanahan. And this could be the most dangerous, the most versatile all-around back this side of O.J. Simpson. I think Foreman can do about as much as anybody.
Stick around at halftime. We'll bring you up to date on all the scores as we switch back to Brent Musburger, Herb Cross, and Phyllis George. And we'll have a very, very exciting interview with one of the biggest guys you ever saw. Ben Davidson's in the booth with us, and the booth is tilted in that direction. That is Ahmad Rashad. His first reception as a Viking.
This guy's about 205 pounds, Pat. I never thought he ran the inside patterns very well as Bobby Moore, but they tell me he's going to maybe be the one that's going to be the other receiver opposite Sammy White with the Viking team. He is a talented person.
2-minute warning being issued to both benches now, which here are on the same side of the field, the only place that happens. Tarkenton goes over.
My helper will show you 2 things to look for in a measuring tape. 1, a positive lock. My Lufkin blade won't slip. 2, a shock absorber so the tip won't break off. My Lufkin has a patented bumper to help prevent that.
For us pros, it's Lufkin for accuracy.
For the best amateurs, too. Now, for a limited time, get a free metric tape with these Lufkin power tapes. Lufkin, one of the great family of tools from Cooper Industries.
You are beautiful. Come on, pal, I'll buy you a beer.
To Old Milwaukee. That's my beer.
Win or lose, you can always count on the great taste of Old Milwaukee. It's named after the city that means beer. And it lives up to the Milwaukee tradition because Old Milwaukee beer tastes as great as its name.
Let's talk about next week.
Old Milwaukee beer tastes as great as its name.
Fran Tarkenton over on the sideline talking with Bud Grant and backup quarterback Bob Lee. That's the rushing situation now for both teams. Los Angeles has 119. Minnesota has just 10.
But Fran has 8 for 12 for 54 yards. It looks to me like he's going to start flooding all the zones with receivers.
He sends Rashad to the right side, and Sammy White comes left. Second down. Gives to McClanahan. McClanahan swinging to the outside. A fine tackle by Monty Jackson.
It's just tough to run against the Rams. They held Atlanta to like 60 yards rushing last week, and Atlanta hit them and banged them. And the Rams finally just sort of shook them off and blew them out in that fourth period. But you can see the Vikings are a pretty good football team, and they're not able to do much running in this first half.
Vikings lead 3-0. A minute and a half left before the half. It is 3rd and 4. They're just in Ram territory at the 49-yard line. Tarkenton sends Foreman in motion to the right. He comes back. Outside it goes to Foreman. Gets away from Kay and gets the first down for Minnesota. Some athlete is Chuck Foreman. Dave Elmendorf made the tackle, but Foreman lunged for that first down.
And Fran runs that almost like a darn handoff. Here he puts number 44 in motion and then sprints that way and then just gets the ball to him. It gets you on defensively. He's on your outside as soon as the ball is snapped almost. That's the way it feels.
Now the Vikings have taken a timeout, and Tarkenton again visits the sideline to talk to his coach, Bud Grant. They still have 2 left.
Now, Fran makes up all of his plays, really. He gets together with Coach Burns during the week and with head coach Bud Grant. But when Tarkenton jersey, and as luck would have it up here, the jerseys are as tough as the players. It held, and that's how he stopped the play. You can see that clock is still ticking.
And now they start the clock again. They stopped it while some of the Rams are a little bit slow getting back, and the clock is running. Tarkenton goes back. Chased by Youngblood. There's a flag down as Foreman cuts upfield inside to the 30-yard line.
Leave Eddie White, grabbed Merlin Olsen, and it's going to be, a little offensive holding.
It could be on Yeri, too.
They might have had a double bubble over there.
Could have. Let's see.
You ever seen a tag team match? That's what we may see here. I look to the left of your screen now. 74 is working against Eddie White, the arm wrestling champion. There's Eddie pounding him with... We sure didn't see Eddie holding in there.
Foreman had the first down, but it's all going to be called back. Let's listen.
73 offense, holding.
Gary and not Eddie White. And I guarantee you, Eddie, I apologize for even thinking that you might have done that.
Youngblood finally got away from Yeri. Half a minute remaining in the second half. The Vikings lead 3-0. White in motion. Outside it goes to White. Youngblood had a hand on it, slowed him up, and Olsen and the rest of the defensive unit pursued.
They finish a play as well as any team I've ever seen. By that I mean they keep chasing the ball. The whole defensive team does. As an individual, they stay with it. That time you had a 16, 15-year veteran clear on the outside helping make a tackle on a pass play. That's an unheard of thing, even in pro football where they pay them so much money to do it, Pat.
Right now it's 3rd and 15. And Tarkenton makes another visit to the sideline. The offensive line there, anchored by Mick Tingeloff. There goes Francis.
And they worried about John Gilliam leaving here, and would they have the outside threat? But boy, Sammy White has come along, and Fran has just taken up with this young man from Grambling, so that they're really probably not going to miss Gilliam as much as they thought. Not that he's not a great receiver. Now with Ahmad Rashad here, and Bud Grant manages to put in a little wrinkle new for each team each week. He is not as fundamental and basic as you might want to think.
Looked like a little social visit on the sideline as Tarkenton comes back with 19 seconds remaining before halftime. It is 3-0, the Vikings over the Rams.
He's not very dirty either. His trousers look like they were just taken off the hanger, huh?
Been on the ground once. So it'll be 3rd and 15 with the ball at the 47-yard line of the Rams. The Rams defensive backs very deep. Tarkenton looks one direction and goes the other. Now he's going to throw deep. Fires in the direction of Sammy White. One of the Rams just got a hand in there at the last second. Rick Kay and Simpson were close by. It was intended for White. And they have 11 seconds left now.
Boy, Simpson just ran right through number 85. Simpson, of course, out of Michigan State a couple of years ago. He and Elmendorf might be as two good knocking a safety men as there are around.
Minnesota sends in Neil Clabo on 4th down now. The Rams don't really believe it. They have not put back a safety man yet.
Strange looking defense they've got lined up in. You're right.
Clabo standing at about his 38-yard line. Good snap. With no safety man back there, it's just going to bounce and roll and into the end zone. So they'll bring it back out to the 20 with just 2 seconds left. And that's going to be it. Clock runs out. That's the end of the first half. The score at Packed House in Bloomington, Minnesota is the Minnesota Vikings 3, the Los Angeles Rams nothing. And so far, it's been a very conservative first half, just exactly what we expected from Los Angeles. And the Rams head for their locker room. Coming up at the halftime, a complete rundown of all the scores around the league and an interview with Big Ben Davidson, one of the stars of the new series on CBS, Ball 4. Ben looks like he's full grown, wouldn't you say?
He looks like he can make it.
He gives the indication that he's ready to kick to Leonard Willis and Sammy White.
Look out for Willis. He's the 9'3" sprinter from Woody Hayes' school at Ohio State. That's White, though.
This is Sammy White. Rams special teams do a good job. Carl Eckern is the first man down. This is Pat Summerall at Bloomington, Minnesota with Tom Brookshire. The Vikings lead it 3-0.
Pat, I think you have to go in at halftime if you're a Ram person and say, hey, wait a minute, we didn't get any points down there. We may have to win this one with defense. And, you know, conversely speaking, I think that Fran decided we're not going to run a lot today anyway, so let's move our receivers out, get Foreman into it as often as we can, and see if we can get some more points now.
Ball's on the 28-yard line. It's first down, Minnesota. Starking it, fakes, goes outside to Foreman. Here comes Isaiah Robertson with a great play.
Butch has speed, doesn't he? Robertson, number 58. Saw him take an interception one day on AstroTurf and went 79 yards with it against the Eagles, and he really looked like a halfback. I'm talking about on defense. That's number 58 right there.
Like he and Foreman had a little conversation after he made that tackle. Out of the game goes Rick Kay, and into the game for the Rams comes an extra defensive back, Pat Thomas. So it's going to be 2nd and 13. The ball at the 25-yard line of Minnesota. Just a little bit outside of that as you get a good close-up look at Francis Tarkenton. Spread out to the right. Outside it goes to White. Nothing doing. Rod Perry right with him. That Ram defensive unit has been most impressive.
All right, and again now Fran has tried to get it to Foreman the first time, and then he used him as the decoy that time. Minnesota looks like if 44 isn't integrally involved in every play, they don't feel like they can really move it. Somehow he's in the operation all the time, and that's the reason he thinks he's worth so much money.
3rd and 12, and I think he is too. Straight back is Tarkenton. Outside in the direction of White. He got it. Got away from one tackler. Got the first down. Broke another one. And Sammy White is out to the 50-yard line.
And Perry and Simpson both missed Sammy White. Here he is, number 85. Ask the Bengals about him. He beat them in a preseason game up here, and they thought the play was over. It's
Perry,
just a short out, Pat.
Watch this.
Okay, you're right behind the defense now. There's Olsen battling with Tingelhoff and company. The short out throw. Now watch here's Perry now. Ooh, all he gets is the hip pads, and not much of those. And now Elmendorf got a pretty good shot, and he beat darn near the whole Rams secondary.
You see who made the tackle? Well, you saw Rod Perry miss. He got up, came back and made the tackle finally. Here's McClanahan. Nothing doing there for him. He's hit right in the hole. Rick Kay. Jack Reynolds, the middle linebacker, filled it with authority.
Well, Tommy Catlin, the linebacking coach, has told me that Jack Reynolds has never missed one of their defensive signals. Now, he'll miss a tackle occasionally, and he might run into one of his own players and knock him down, but he is hitting somebody on a Sunday afternoon somewhere.
I thought he was going to hurt himself in the warm-up.
He almost missed the introduction, too. Did you see that?
2nd down, Tarkenton back. 2nd and 9 it is. Rams has got plenty of time.
He's over the line of scrimmage. He's over the line of
scrimmage. He's over the line of scrimmage.
That'll be an illegal forward pass. It'll cost you the down and the play.
But there's another flag downfield. Monty Jackson, I think, hit Sammy White in the back before the ball got there.
And that's not legal, right? Not anymore.
In the eyes of some.
With the extra referee and the officials downfield, it's no longer kosher. You're right about that.
Anyway, the discussion goes on still with Tarkenton now. The referee is Fred Silva, by the way. The umpire is Ralph Moorcroft. Head linesman George Murphy. Line judge Bob Bauer. The back judge is Dave Perry. The field judge is Jimmy Cole. When he walked off against Tarkenton, he was over the line of scrimmage. It is rare that you see him do that.
It's true. He tries to get away with it a lot. Let's hear the call.
Loss of down. Illegal pass. 3rd down.
And maybe somebody just dropped their flag by accident downfield while they were walking, or wanted to do something.
Once he got across the line of scrimmage, I think everything else was just completely out of the picture. So it's 3rd down. Loss of down, as indicated by Brett Silva. Scoreboard still got it 2nd down, but it's 3rd. Tarkenton back again. Youngblood with some pressure. Flag is down. Yeri was holding Youngblood again, I'm sure.
Number 73, one of the great offensive tackles, and it is such a fine line between holding and doing your job that the official that calls it, it's just become so flagrant he's got to call it. That's the only thing we can say.
Youngblood just keeps pouring in. Tarkenton stayed in the pocket that time, which is rather unusual for him. Listen to the indication.
73 offense refused.
It is refused. It was against Yeri. It is now 4. Like to welcome those of you who watched that contest between the Cardinals and Green Bay. St. Louis shut them out 29-0. Here the score is 3-0 Minnesota. In the event you did join us late, the Rams had one solid-looking drive in the first half. They went 75 yards. They had a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line and came away with no points. The Vikings held them. Now it's Neil Clabo.
Got a 45-yard average coming in. He has to hurry it.
Bertelsen coming over. Bouncing at about the 20, out of bounds at the 23-yard line, where the Rams will take it over. Bertelsen had no chance to field it. Clabo didn't catch that one.
No, he hurried it just a little bit.
Don't forget, all that's coming up on the Sports Spectacular next Saturday at 4:30 p.m.
You're going to be busy, I'll tell you that.
I'll say. Ali Norton interview, that alone would keep you busy, followed by the Mount Everest Expedition, the International Superbike Championship, the Beldame from Belmont, the Italian Grand Prix. A full day on the Sports Spectacular next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time. Capoletti and McCutcheon, the deep backs for the Rams. Pat Hayden is still the quarterback. This is Capoletti straight ahead, swarmed on by the Viking defensive unit. Let's see who's on the bottom. I see Eller, wasn't him. Jeff Seaman, Matt Blair, Wally Hilgenberg, and Doug Sutherland, finally the last one up.
Capoletti had 79 yards rushing in the first half. That's a 4.4 yard average per try against as stingy a defensive club, I guess, year in and year out, as we've seen.
He hurt his average a little bit with that carry. He only got 2, so it's 2nd and 8. 11-17 left in the 3rd period as McCutcheon goes out wide behind. Defensive play by Nate Allen again. And Jeff Wright came up to make the tackle. Allen turned it back inside. Watch it from the end zone.
Let's take a look at 23 now to the left of your screen. First, the man in motion coming back, Ron Jesse, does not get a good block on the outside. He has to be careful there not to make a clip. And here you can see it break down as Mack tries to go ahead. Jeff Wright makes a good tackle. The safety man making the fill there. Who was that? Blair doing the forcing, right?
Who is that?
I got to watch him. Wonder if he used his underarm deodorant today.
I don't think he ever has. Nobody ever stands close to it.
He's always alone.
He's always by himself. Pat Hayden, after a little bit of confusion, that's what he did in the first half, wants to go over and talk to Chuck Knox and Kenny Meyer. Make sure he's got things straight. He must have missed that signal.
You know, this is the last ballpark, I believe, where the 2 teams are on the same side of the field.
That always meant for interesting confrontations when the both benches were on the same side of the field.
Like dogs and cats.
There was no place to hide.
Hey, if you really love coffee, you got to see this. It's a brand new Norelco Dial Brew coffee maker, and it's got a brand new look. Isn't it a beauty? And the exclusive Norelco Dial Brew lets you dial coffee to exactly the taste you like. Light, medium, dark. And perfect every time. Only Norelco has Dial Brew. Look, you can pay less, you can pay more, but you just can't buy a finer coffee maker than Norelco.
America needed a better idea for putting on
October 1st, Ford Pinto kicks up its heels with sporty new styling front and back, a sporty suspension for nimble handling, and new exciting options like rally instruments and a flip-up removable roof. Test one October 1st.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
86 football players on the same side of the field. The Ram offensive unit operating now with Pat Hayden as the quarterback. They're all up the ball at their own 22-yard line. John Williams, the offensive tackle on the right side, missed the count.
I believe the man from USC is having a little poise trouble right now. The young quarterback, he just had to call timeout, and now he may have called the audible cadence wrong, because Williams has been there a while, and I'm sure he won't hold it against the young quarterback, but a little bit of nerves showing right now. A 3-0 game.
Ball goes back to the 17, make it 3rd and 16. Vikings lead it 3-0. Typical NFC Central Division Minnesota hosted game. Here's the reverse again of McCutcheon. Hara out in front. McCutcheon chased down by Marshall and Jeff Wright. It's going to be 4th down now, and Rusty Jackson comes in to punt for the Los Angeles Rams.
Jeff Wright made a tremendous play again, the safety man, who is really all over the field for
Had a heck of a day, hadn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Leonard Willis is deep for Minnesota. He's the man they like to have handle the punts. And look out for him, as Tom Brookshire has been telling you. He is dangerous. Rusty Jackson hangs a high one. Willis goes up with a hand for a fair catch and does it. At the 32-yard line, Minnesota will take over. Neither team able to generate too much on offense. As the scoreboard would indicate, the Minnesota Vikings 3, the Los Angeles Rams nothing. Both going in are undefeated.
You know, Prestone antifreeze, you know it fights corrosion. You know Prestone.
You know, antifreeze isn't permanent. It wears out like everything else. So I put in a fresh fill of Prestone 2 every fall. Why don't you? It fights corrosion.
Prestone 2, you know it protects.
This is my car, and I know Prestone protects.
These are the cars that Ford built. This is the solid-state ignition that comes on the cars that Ford built. Ford Motor Company's solid-state ignition means no more points, no more condensers. You get a stronger spark for better starting, and your plugs last longer with solid-state ignition that comes on the cars that Ford built. Ford built. It's a lot of things that are good built.
It's simple. Ford wants to be your car company.
It has cooled off considerably in Bloomington, Minnesota, and the wind has picked up a little bit.
May snow.
Like it might. It's first down now for Minnesota with the ball on their own 32-yard line. Tarkenton with a fake to McClanahan, throws in the direction of Stu Voigt. And the ever-present Stu Voigt seems to just pop out of the ground and be open.
As soon as Voigt cleared the line of scrimmage, he saw the zone break away from him, and watch him put his arm up. And you're behind the Rams secondary now. Voigt will be to the left of your screen, and watch him. He may have his hand up as you see him. There he is. He's already put it down. But he was signaling for Fran is, we know what the defense is, and I got one, buddy. Get it to me.
It's a mark of experience right there, a tight end or any receiver who has enough knowledge to pull up when you see you're running into zone coverage like that. That's what Voigt did. The handoff is to Foreman, nothing doing.
Pat, people may not understand this, but when you and I are broadcasting the game, we can sort of get a feel for it, the way the game is unfolding, right, or the way it's... And the teams are having the same problem that you and I are, and I imagine the viewer feels it too, that there are missed plays and then there's some great plays, and there's no continuous feeling to it right now, like they've got it going. You know what I mean?
Nobody has been able to get too much going outside of that one drive that the Rams had. It is 2nd and 8. All right at midfield. Tarkenton in front of McClanahan and Foreman. Going deep in the direction of Sammy White. Did not come up with it. Back with him was Rod Perry. Simpson came over to help out. Looked for a moment like White might have had a step, but Perry got the hand in at the last second. Look at it.
He's the second-year man from Colorado now. Now look to the left of your screen. Again, just as we said, there was no tempo. Suddenly, the game picked up. Good play by Perry, and I'll tell you, Sammy White can run.
Rick Kay goes out, and Pat Thomas comes in as the Rams load up their defensive backfield with an extra one. It's 3rd and 8. Ball still at midfield. 8:29 left, third period. Minnesota 3. Los Angeles nothing. Foreman comes in motion to the left. McClanahan's got it and got it ahead of steam. He's got first down. He's inside the 30. Down to close to the 30-yard line. Past the 35. 15-yard pickup as Jack Reynolds took him out. Watch again.
Defensive players should take up a collection and get Tarkenton out of this game. Watch this. He's got his best receiver, best player to the left now, so he dumps it off to McClanahan over the rush, and nobody's there. And now McClanahan takes it inside and back out. You can see a couple of trousers here being stretched. Good play by number 33, and almost breaks another one before Hacksaw Reynolds shows up.
Finally put the ball down on the 36-yard line. Tarkenton looks left, hit twice. Down to the 25, down to the 24, another Viking first down. Just as we said nobody could get anything going, they've got it.
Looks like they may be working on Perry a little bit. Watch to the left now, young Perry. Rod Perry is now on this side of the field. Good tackle on Sammy White, his man for the day. But the first down's already been, they've moved the chains already. Here's another look at that same thing, the quick spin and the fast delivery by Tarkenton.
1st and 10, Minnesota, the ball at the 24-yard line of Los Angeles. McClanahan with the carry around the corner. They just seal off the run. Rick Kay is right there to make the tackle.
What a play. What a play by number 52. He just kept holding his ground. To the right of you now, this is a power sweep. Everybody's out in front. Watch number 52 now. Just fight his blocker. Fight, fight, fight on Yerry. And then drop to the outside, get that shirt again, and make the tackle. Good play.
2nd and 9. He got only a yard after that good play by Kay.
Line 70.
And the blitz going. Tarkenton throws out to the rest of the Foreman. He never saw the ball. Rick Kay was back with him. Reynolds, the middle linebacker, was on the blitz.
I'd really like to have friends' inner thoughts right now. I'd like to be able to climb inside that helmet and hear what he's thinking. Maybe I wouldn't. Main thing is it wasn't an INT, and that's what number 10 thinks about a lot. He doesn't throw it into where people are too often.
So it'll be 3rd and 9 now. They are just about within Fred Cox's field goal range.
Vikings are 4 for 10 so far in third down conversions.
Here comes Reynolds. Oh, Boyd had it in his hands and couldn't hang on. The Rams' Monty Jackson was with him. You won't see Boyd drop many like that.
Well, I'll tell you, though, Jackson made it awfully tough for him. I don't think number 83 saw the ball. Jackson stepped in front, covered him perfectly. I'd have to say Monty Jackson's about the best-looking young defensive back I've seen in this league in a couple of years. He's a good one.
He is a superb athlete. Bud Grant at his communications center. Here's Fred Cox. Krause will hold at the 31. That'll make it a 41-yard field goal. Cox has already hit one from 33. It is wide to the right side. Not good for Fred Cox. So it's still Minnesota 3, Los Angeles nothing, in a game that obviously has been dominated from the very start by defense. Both defensive units just fine.
It's going to be about 3 touchdowns. You know it? We were just talking up here as we were meandering about the possibility there could be a big fourth quarter scoring splurge, and I have a feeling both teams are finally going to say, to heck with all our procedures and all our IBM readouts. Let's go get some points. I think they'll both open up, Pat.
I think Tarkenton has just about realized that he's not going to get it done running against the Ram defensive unit in any way. If it's going to be done, then it's got to be done by passing. His pass protection has been reasonably good. Of course, it always is when he's the quarterback, because he runs around so much. Pat Hayden still is leading the Ram offense, and he's been a little bit cautious, as you would expect in his first start.
Remember, they're signaling him the plays from the sidelines. Bennett upstairs, down to the sidelines, and out to him. So all he's got to do is execute, but against a great defense.
Ron, Jesse wide to the right. Jackson left. Neither of them has caught a pass. McCutcheon found some room in the middle. Marshall and Seaman finally took him down. Think about Marshall. This is consecutive game number 224 for him, which ties him with George Blanda.
I'm not taking anything away from George, but George was doing a lot of kicking in some of those years. Marshall's been teeing it up as a starter.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And still playing well.
George had a lot of mental anguish. 2nd and 5. Jesse comes in motion. Hayden gives to McCutcheon again. Bounce. Rattle for about 5. Alan Page finally made the tackle. First down, Los Angeles.
Take a look how big that offensive line is for the Rams. It is not large, it is immense, and it is young, and it is well coached. And that Rich Saul in the middle, he had to wait like 4 years to play because Kenny Iman was there. When Iman retired after 14, Saul got his chance. They are all very patient veterans there. Tough.
They own a first down right now. The ball at the 34-yard line, their own. Hayden goes back to pass on first down. Flag is down as Jesse is out there. Jesse's out of bounds. Nate Wright was back with him. Jesse was out of bounds, but a flag is down back in the area where you would suspect it might be holding.
Little holding, I believe, on Sutherland or Marshall. Both are acting like they've been held. But I'll tell you one thing, Hayden can throw it. He airmailed that thing about 65 yards. We also have a flag down here around the 30-yard line, down here this end of the field.
Here comes Fred Silva down to check on things.
That was meant for Ron Jesse and caught, by the way, but just out of bounds.
Offsetting.
It's going to be holding on offense, it appears, and perhaps a little agitation downfield as Jesse drifts on out of bounds, being pursued. But I tell you, Hayden really threw a beautiful spiral and a very strong throw.
We have holding, offense, pass interference, defense. Offset.
So the penalties offset each other, as indicated by Fred Silva. Tom Brookshire was talking about that offensive line a minute ago of the Los Angeles Rams. It's France and John Williams at the tackles. Tom Mack and Dennis Harrah the guards. Rich Saul is the offensive center.
We'll try to get a shot of Rich Saul if we can in just a minute here and show you what happens by around the offensive center spot.
First and 10. Hayden gives back to McCutcheon. McCutcheon cuts back against the grain. Pursued by Blair, tackled by Seaman. And
Seaman
Page.
almost made him cough that ball up, too. McCutcheon wisely put it away as he headed down. I asked one of the Rams if Rich Saul was hurt. He said, how could he be? He said he has every known protective device that you can have as a player, and they call him General Hospital.
The wind is picked up now, so it's blowing from the north behind the Rams back at about 25 miles an hour. Capoletti bounced up close to first down yardage, didn't quite get it. Stopped by Jeff Wright.
I see a little bit of intensity down there. I saw Doug France and Harrah both arguing with some of the defensive players, Eller and them, and there may be some hard feelings forming down the line of scrimmage, and I certainly hope so. I think one of these teams ought to come out now and begin to lay it on somebody.
Terry Nelson just checked in and whispered something to Hayden. What Chuck Knox once done on third and very short yardage. 4 minutes and 25 seconds left, third period. It's 3-0 Minnesota still. Hayden's going to throw, and does. Outside Jesse. First pass reception all day by a Ram wide receiver. Nate Wright on the tackle.
Ball was right on the money, and again it's thrown on 3rd and short. I still think that Hayden looks a little tight when he goes back, and I can understand it. He's sort of guiding it, looking for his receiver. But he's been a winner, Pat. He never did anything that wasn't just about the way it should be done all his life.
And he's been in some big games in the past, collegiately. First down now as Hayden gets back to McCutcheon, and McCutcheon gets away from the couple. Stopped by Jeff Wright.
Boy, Mack and Hara and Rich Saul in the middle did a tremendous job that time of splitting Sutherland and Alan Page and jamming it, as they say in this league, right down your throat.
Jeff Wright has to check out. He's made a lot of tackles today, and Autry Beeman comes in. 2nd and 3. Ball at the Minnesota 46. Down to just over 3 minutes left, 3rd period. McCutcheon gets the call.
Humanity. It looked like, well, the Vikes knew what they were going to do. They're going to run right at Sutherland. And the Rams said, okay, you know what we're going to do. See if you can keep us from getting that first down. And they did, but it's close. It's right on it.
The bottom of the pile was Sutherland. It's close enough for Fred Silva to ask for measurement.
16 players on this Ram team are second-year or first-year men. So when you're thinking about, oh, the Rams have been to the playoffs before, a lot of these guys haven't been. This is a big game for them.
There's only one victory in the Ram book in Minnesota since they've been coming up here to play the Vikings. They've lost 9 times, and they tied 1. So it hasn't been a friendly place for Los Angeles. 3rd and short. McCutcheon bangs in there and got it down close to the 40-yard line. Stopped by Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker.
They tell a story of McCutcheon at Colorado State up at Fort Collins. When the pro scouts came up, they put number 30 on the clock for 40 yards, and he ran a 4.4, which is very fast. And the next time he ran it, 4.4. Did 5 wind sprints in a row, and they were all 4.4, which means that he can do it in the 4th period as well as he can do it in the 1st period.
He has proven that in the past. Denver 29-3 over the New York Jets at the half. LA has 11 first downs. Minnesota has 10. Capoletti looks for some running room and found it. That's done just on strength. About a 5-yard pickup for Capoletti.
I think Paterno might have been able to use him against Ohio State yesterday, right?
Anybody be able to use him.
You're behind the defense now. No, Sutherland's trying to work out to the outside on defense. There's Blair out there for help, but Capoletti did just slide in between those 2 big buildings for the yardage.
The Bears, the surprising Chicago Bears, lead San Francisco 19-5. Capoletti's picked up 91 yards so far. McCutcheon grinding straight ahead behind that offensive line we talked about a minute ago. It'll be 3rd down now.
McCutcheon is right at 70 yards, and as you said, Capoletti at 91, but there are no points on the board, and they still pay off not in penetrations, but in points. Well, you know that, as many games as you won for the Giants with that great toe of yours.
It does seem to have an effect on whether or not you play when the season's over. Rich Saul shaken up on that last play. General Hospital is going to the sideline.
Boy, he's tough. Don't worry about him coming back. He may limp a little bit.
Jeff Reese is the backup center. Terry Nelson checks in. They'll go with dual tight ends now. It'll be Klein on one side and Nelson on the other.
Reese, number 54, is a 250-pounder, a rookie from Washington State.
3rd and 2. Just over a minute left in the 3rd period. Minnesota 3, Los Angeles nothing. Out to Jesse, they swing it again, and he got the first down again. Same play on 3rd down. Nate Wright giving him a lot of room out there.
I'll tell you, Hayden throws it, though. That ball gets there in a hurry, and yet it looks like it has enough spin to where you can catch it. He hit Jesse with a pretty swift little throw. Hayden is only 5'11". Tarkenton is just a shade taller than that, so don't think that is something that he can't overcome. There it is, and it's a rifle, but it seems to have a lot of spin, so it's catchable.
Rich Saul, after 1 play rest, is back at offensive center for Los Angeles now. It's a first down for the Rams. Ball at the Minnesota 26, and Capoletti gets the call again. This time, no place to go. Even when he spun back to the inside, they were there. Seaman around his feet.
What are you thinking in the secondary now that the young man has the offensive line going and beginning to get the 3 plays, and then the first down, you crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit if you're Paul Krause back there, right? The first thing you know, you get a play pass action even by a young quarterback like this, and you do light up a scoreboard. You got to be very careful on defense.
Check and see how much room Nate Wright gives Harold Jackson on the right side. Jesse goes to the left. Jackson's got a lot of room. On second down, Capoletti's looking for some room. He struggles down inside the 20-yard line.
Severe, he ran straight ahead and picked up the hole wherever it opened up. And watch Alan Page react so well. Seaman moves in. Page moved into the right of your screen. Because of the good reaction, Capoletti found that room.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Minnesota 3, Los Angeles nothing. Jeff Seaman's been over for a chat with Bud Grant. And he comes back to the... Whoop, look out. He's still alone.
Look at that. He may put one of those horns right through the eye there of the CBS Sports eye, right?
He might wear it.
Hook 'em horns. This is a big third down play, right? They all are.
That is 3rd and 2. The ball at the Minnesota 19. The Rams are all bunched up in that offensive unit. I wonder if it's going to be Capoletti or McCutcheon. McCutcheon. He is close. He is very close to a first down.
Boy, Williams blocked down, and Tom Mack pulled through that hole. It's the old buddy block. The guard pulls through, the off guard. 65 led McCutcheon right through there for what's the biggest first down of the day. And
if it is, they're going to measure. The buddy block, you say?
Well, it's a buddy. The center blocks away, and the guard pulls through there. And if you're playing defense, you feint.
And you hope you got some buddies.
Somebody tackled that guy.
It looks like it's going to be about maybe 2 or 3 inches short.
Oh, boy, what do you do now? You try for 3 there, or do you try to go ahead and get the first down and win the football game?
They had a chance to try for 3 earlier and turned it down. Dempsey missed one time. But in the first half, look at the last play again.
All right, now watch the left guard. The left center of your screen. Watch 65. See this? Look at McCutcheon. Get right in his shadow. But they better get that same block right now, or they're in trouble.
Looks like about less than a foot to go as the Rams break out of the offensive huddle. 4th down. The stands come alive, and Hayden says he can't hear. Oh. You think that's going to make him be quiet?
He must think he's in Pasadena. Don't tell these Viking fans you can't hear. They may come in here and get us. Might be a pretty cute little ploy, though, by the young man. You know, he'll have that defensive line white-knuckling it on that stance, maybe more than his own offense.
Right, he'd probably go a long count.
You know, the thought crossed my mind, maybe he doesn't even want to snap it.
Just keep counting. They have 14 seconds left. That's where they stop the new 30-second clock that's on the scoreboard here. They have 30 seconds, of course, in which to put the ball in play. Now the Viking fans come alive again. I'm sorry, Tom. Minnesota asking for quiet, and so is Hayden. 4th down. I don't know. McCutcheon got the call, and he got popped almost as soon as he got the ball.
Now, Klein and company are saying yes, and Hayden, and the Vikings are really hot. Look at this.
Jeff Seaman made the tackle, and they are stomping up and down.
How do you get forward motion? By the way, Saul's back in at offensive center, and it looked to me like Hayden called for something right over the offensive center. Boy, he couldn't have made it by more than an inch.
That's about all he had to go, and that's about all he got. Carl Eller still looking down, and here comes the measuring crew again. Right now, it looks like he got it from where they marked the ball. Ram first down.
All right, here's a war for about a half a foot. Here's what happened. I'll tell you, he was met as he tried to get up off the ground. I believe that was Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker.
It was. But after all that, it's a Ram first down. Opening minutes of quarter number 4 at Bloomington, Minnesota. First down for Pat Hayden. Back to pass. In a corner in the direction of Jackson, a flag is down.
I believe Harold Jackson ran the post corner, and sometimes you have a problem and try to knock off a very fast receiver like Harold from getting back outside. Now, if the ball wasn't thrown, you understand that number 25,
Nate Allen
had the right to do that. But if the ball was in the air and coming, then it's going to be a yellow flag, and that's what the argument is right now.
Defensive pass interference in the end zone, 25.
Jackson,
Ball
of course, a legitimate 4-3 man sprinting 40 yards. Let's take a look now and see if we can see it. I doubt if we can. It'll be in the left corner of your screen. The in move and then the out. And we did not see it.
Ram first down at the 1. First and goal. McCutcheon gets the call. The fumble. There still has not been a final ruling. And now there has. Into the end zone, the fumble.
I believe it was Doug Sutherland that recovered it.
The ball comes back out to the 20. Let's look at it again.
McCutcheon again trying to get up and over. Seaman and company right on top.
Touchback.
And there's a loose ball in there. And Saul is on somebody's back. I believe it was one of the secondary men that recovered it.
It is ruled a touchback. We'll return to Metropolitan Stadium after this word from your local stadium.
America's Pastime gets the once-over in the hilarious new comedy Ball 4, starting this Wednesday night on CBS.
Sure, Toyota's a beauty, all right. But how do I know it can really take it?
You asked for it. A demonstration of Toyota toughness. Toyota trucks are built tough with a rugged steel frame to handle stress, a tough steel bed to handle up to 1,100-pound payloads, and a 5-speed overdrive transmission that helps save wear and tear on the biggest displacement engine in its class. If you can find a better built truck than Toyota, buy it. Quality.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota. Open up your eyes, hey, look around you. There's a lot of world you've never seen.
Where does Pan Am go? Well, where do you want to go?
Welcome to our world. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of Pan Am. America's airline to the world.
Channel 2, New York.
So hold them up.
Here's the controversial play now.
Now remember, if McCutcheon carries it into the end zone before he fumbles, it's a touchdown, but he didn't. And the ball was recovered in the end zone, so it's a touchback, and the Vikes have it on the 20. A very, very close play.
We come back live now with Chuck Foreman carrying outside the 20 to the 23. That is twice in this game that the Rams had put together a long running drive. The other one was 75 yards. This one was 76 yards in 16 plays, and they get no points.
And only the second turnover in the game. The Rams have had both a fumble and then an INT early.
Second and 7, Minnesota still leads it 3-0. Tarkenton has his speed receivers both split wide to the right. He hands to Foreman. Larry Brooks is right there.
Brooks is so quick. Tingelhoff tried to tie his shoelaces together, and Brooks still made the tackle, number 90.
Tingelhoff must be pretty quick, too.
Boy, that is some goal line stand the Vikings just threw up there. Their defense will sleep very well tonight should they win this game 3-0.
3rd and 6. 50 seconds left in the football game. Foreman goes in motion. Sammy White at the 38. Elmendorf. And Monty Jackson on the tackle, but a first down, Minnesota.
And Tarkenton got a lot of time to load it up and throw this time, so the rush was taken off. That means that Yeri and Riley did a good job. Let's take a look. You're behind the defense now. There goes Simpson out of the screen. And right across the middle, there comes White. He's only got about a step and a half. Of course, that's all the receiver needs, particularly against the man-to-man.
Ahmad Rashad into the game as a wide receiver for Minnesota. First down. Foreman jumps and jukes and got nothing. Maybe a yard before he stopped by middle linebacker Jack Reynolds.
Vikings just have not been able to rush the football with any consistency at all.
Not at all.
Foreman, who usually makes a couple of people miss on 5-yard gains.
Sammy White has caught 7 passes for a total of 67 yards. Had a good day. Rashad and White both come wide to the right. To Rashad. He gets out of bounds. Tarkenton just raised up and looked at him. Chuck Knox.
Well, there's a portrait of a coach thinking, musing, still feeling that there's victory to be had, but
watch some of the blocking.
All right, Merlin Olsen now working against Eddie White and being bumped there very hard by McClanahan right in the old orchestra pit, too. Huh? That must hurt.
The big orchestra pit. It's 3rd and 4. 11:24, the ball at the 44. 11:24 left in the game. Blitz. For White. He's gone. Rod Perry fell down, was burned.
Perry fell down on the play before that, and Sammy White just turned and ran out of bounds. And this time on White's 9th catch, there was nobody there, and Fran just laid it up. Good blocking, by the way. They picked up the blitz beautifully.
Here it is.
Tarkenton now. Remember, the blitz is on. Pat, you were right. The Rams decide to come with everybody. And nobody gets there. Not before he's thrown the ball. You'll see Perry now in the wake, falling down. And Sammy White from Grambling runs it on in.
Notice he did not spike the ball after he scored. He scored last week and said he wanted to in the worst way, but he remembered what the coach said. Red Cox makes it 10-0 Minnesota. So the Vikings struck quickly after they stopped the Rams and recovered that fumble. Back they came, and they lead it 10-0 now.
October 1st, Ford will introduce a special choice. For 1977, some car makers will offer only shorter, lighter full-size cars. But Ford gives you a choice. The full-size LTD that kept its size and the new trimmer LTD 2.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
With the same amount of gas, you probably would have made it to that gas station if you only had something new called Mobil 1. It's a synthesized motor oil that cuts friction so well, it'll give the average car up to 10 extra miles per tank full. True, Mobil 1 costs more, but in the long run, you're
Throwing that touchdown pass to Sammy White. White scales at the 4. Gets out to the 28. Stopped by Amos Martin and Jeff Wright again.
I just looked up. The last shutout the Rams suffered was in 1969. Detroit beat them 28-zip. But in a long time, 69 to this team, and this team has moved that football on the ground about as well as you could ask a team to do it for you. They simply didn't get any points.
Los Angeles, they have dominated play on the ground. No question about that. But Minnesota leads 10-0. Puts down the ball on the Rams 28. Harold Jackson just shy of midfield, and somebody went hurtling over the top.
Just shy of Jeff Seaman. Did you see the little linebacker coming out?
They're going to bring it back. Discussion here with Fred Silva just before he walks things off. And we'll hear after that, hopefully, who the violator was.
60 offense, holding, first down.
That's Hara. That's the second-year man, the very fine young guard, but he was holding, which means he was probably holding Sutherland. It'll be to the left of your screen. Number 60. There he is, holding Sutherland. Oh, he's got him good, I'll tell you that.
Got him by all 4 numbers. So it's 1st and 20 now. And Hayden goes back to pass. Marshall almost got loose. Now the protection does break down. Hayden still looking for a place to go. Finally fires outside to Capoletti. Capoletti gets out to about the 25.
Might have been looking for John McKay's son. I felt like he was almost back to the college days, doing a little bit of a wrinkle there. Tell you one thing, he's pretty cool. Couldn't have been that way at Oxford, however.
He has become more and more poised, I think, as the game has progressed. Now he wants some help. Hurry up. Here comes Bertelsen.
By the way, I said earlier that he was a single and a bachelor, and I think he did recently marry after he signed his big contract.
I'm sure his wife would be glad to hear that. It's 2nd and 12. Here's the reverse to Capoletti. They got around Eller. Capoletti's got some room and got the first down. Big John probably is not as fast as McCutcheon or some of the other backs, but he's not short on anything else.
Watch Jim Bertelsen, though, to the left of your screen now. He'll set up Eller and just turn him around. There to the right of your screen, you saw it. Good block on the outside by Hara. Again, protection of the ball and trailing 10 points.
So it's 1st and 10 for Los Angeles. The ball at their 40. Capoletti now has carried 22 times for 112 yards. 2 weeks in a row he's over 100. Hayden fires. Jackson got it. Oh, he'll remember it. Nate Allen turned him with some help from Jeff Seaman.
Jeff Seaman is playing some kind of a game for the Vikings. Watch this move now. A very good throw that takes Harold Jackson. Look at him drive off it. Watch Jackson jump straight up. Nate Allen runs right under him, and there's Seaman to finish him off. Harold Jackson, you're right. You're going to feel that tomorrow. Great catch, though.
Oh, Krause is out of the game. James White is in to rush. Not much in the middle of the Minnesota defense. Alan Page, Doug Sutherland, all in on the stop.
Chuck Knox said before the game, he said, Tom, if we have to tee it up and throw it to win, I don't think Hayden can do it. But if we can rush the football and get some points and sporadically throw it, we might have a chance. But looks to me like Hayden's going to have to load it up 10 or 15 times here to get at least a touchdown and a half.
Bobby Bryant is in at free safety for Minnesota. Krause is out. 2nd and 8. Hayden goes back. Ducks under a couple. He's going to take off. Ducks under one right there. Ducks under Matt Blair. Kenny Meyer and Chuck Knox. It's Meyer working on the gum. Watch that scramble.
Let's take a look now at a very, very shrewd play by the young quarterback, number 11. That's Page being worked on there. Now he decides, get down, get down.
Taking a page out of Tarkenton's book. Got to lose that battle. 3rd down. The Rams coming right back. Hayden back. Stunts going on. He fired down the middle in the direction of Bertelson. He yelled for the flag, and he got one.
Wally Hilgenberg, I believe, was trailing Bertelson and spun him around. Naturally, Wally doesn't believe it was. Bertelson doesn't even turn to the defense at all.
I wonder if there's ever been a defender who's called for pass interference who said, "You're right, I did do it."
Not if he was worth a darn.
First
You're
down.
right.
Automatic first down, of course. Let's look at it from the end zone.
Right to the right of your screen now, Wally Hilgenberg should be doing his thing. There's Bertelson. And Wally's already done something to him, a little nifty move there.
Bertelson was already pointing and saying to the referees, "Hey, you got me." First down, Hayden goes deep again. Looking, and firing. In the direction of Bob Klein, the tight end. He tried to let up on it, and the ball didn't quite get there.
I wonder if he was trying to hit McCutcheon with it and was undecided, so he ended up throwing it sort of low to the tight end. And Jackson's coming back from the far hinterlands, where he probably will go back and say, "Well, I was wide open, but I know you had something else to think about."
Bertelson and Scales come in. Capoletti and Klein go out.
The crossing pattern right now would catch a zone and stretch it. If Jesse would be on one side of the field and Jackson on the other, they could stretch a zone almost to the limits. They're on the same side right now.
6 defensive backs in the Viking defensive unit on second down and 10. Ball at their 26. The reverse again. Bertelson trying to block on Eller. Again, he did a good job. McCutcheon goes down, and Jeff Wright made the tackle. What a job he's done today.
Jeff Wright has made about 6 tackles, as clean and as difficult as you'll see any secondary man make all year.
That's not an easy guy to take down in the open field like that.
Again, Bertelson did the job on Eller. Eller does a pretty good job, though, of delaying this play, of making the play a little bit slower reacting. Now watch this play. 23. Hey, he's having quite a day. Jeff Wright makes another good one.
Third down now for Los Angeles. The ball up to 24. 3rd and 8. Minnesota leads it 10-0 as Hayden goes back. Great protection for Jackson. He bounced it in there. He's open.
That's the crossing play. That's the one he's got to have, is Jesse and Klein to clear out and go deep and bring somebody like Harrell across the middle. There should be a vacuum there somewhere, but the young man's got to cut the ball loose and stop guiding it.
For the second time, the Rams are unveiling Tom Dempsey. He was short earlier. And Steve Priest will be the holder. The ball will be snapped from the 25. It's going to be a 42-yard effort by Dempsey. And he's got plenty enough leg to get it there. It is 10-0. They still got a lot of work ahead of that Los Angeles offensive unit if they're going to do anything about it. Vikings lead by 10. Down the ball. Dempsey's got enough leg here. And got it. Ooh. That was a long time in making that judgment. So the Rams do get on the scoreboard. The score with 6 minutes and 19 seconds left in the 4th period is Minnesota 10, Los Angeles 3. Robert Miller was the man up in the wedge. Go back and look at that field goal again.
Pat, how wide are the goalposts? You know, I looked this up today just to ask you, since you were one of the great kickers. Do you know what the distance is between them?
I don't have any idea. I know they're 10 feet high.
They're 18 feet 6 inches between them. I thought it was wider than that.
Oh, I don't look nearly that wide.
Not to the kicker.
No. At the 42, 43 make it. The Viking offensive unit on the field. Still the same 2 running backs, McClanahan and Foreman. Fumble by Foreman. I think he got it back. Let's see. Yeah. Minnesota ball.
Boy, I'm thinking sudden death, and I know I shouldn't say something like that, but a 10-3 ball game with almost 6 minutes left, I got a strange feeling we're going to be under the lights for real. So if you got somebody cooking something, you better tell them to put it on the back burner for a while, I think.
Okay. Make a quick call. Second and 11. Foreman almost lost it. Flanahan on a quick draw play. Stop. Rick Kay and Merlin Olsen on the tackle.
Except for the blitz when Tarkington beat him with the pass, Ram defense has been just about as nasty. Look at Merlin Olsen. They're going to take him to the Hall of Fame. Not a picture of him. They're going to really take Merlin out there and put him right there. He should be.
He certainly should. Look at Bud Grant. You never know what score was close, would you? It is 10-3 with 5 minutes now left. 3rd and 9. Gets away from one, fires in the direction of Ahmad Rashad. Ball bounced out of his hands. So we'll have a look at Neil Clabo.
I'll tell you, that ball was right there and thrown under duress. Tarkington will probably say something like, you know, you're only with us a few days because Rashad just came from Seattle. And Bob Lertzema went out there.
He slipped down, just got his balance back in time. And here's Neil Clabo. The figures on him. 39.6 average. Jim Bertelsen is back alone for the Rams. See if they put the pressure on, try to block this. They're coming. Fine punt by Clabo. Priest got a good block on Nate Allen. The Vikings did a heck of a job of coverage.
Roy Winston, the old LSU Bengal Tiger, was down covering on the punt.
Guy's been around that long playing on special teams. That's a real tribute to this Viking team. 10-3 Minnesota lead.
I told you General Hospital would be back. There's Rich Saul, number 61. You can't keep that guy out of that offensive center spot.
Got their work cut out for him now. Saul up over the ball. Ram ball at their own 15. Hayden back to pass.
Give the Vikings secondary an A+ because there's never been better pass protection for any quarterback than Hayden got that time. Eller's charge was 7 seconds after he goes back. Watch this. You can't draw it on a blackboard like this. He still isn't bothered. And I mean, they didn't even make penetration. That's a late rush by number 81.
Eller's effectiveness, a lot of people wondered about going in because he's playing with a broken thumb. See that big bandage he's got on there. Hayden now on 2nd down. Goes back. Good protection again. Sutherland was close to him. Jackson is in a sandwich between Autry Beeman, number 27, and Nate Wright, number 43. Watch Jackson.
I'll tell you, Harold Jackson runs the center pattern with as much courage as any receiver. Watch this. He's not big at about 5'10". He looks for the ball, doesn't hear any footsteps, but they're there. Good gosh.
Nate Wright did some job.
So did Beeman. Beeman, by the way, got the recovered fumble that was so important earlier, too. They're playing in that secondary.
Rams have been able to convert on 3rd down 6 out of 13 times. It's 3rd and 12 with just over 4 minutes remaining. Hayden goes back. Deep for Jesse. Got it and got the 1st down out of bounds in front of the Minnesota bench. Good throw by Hayden there.
Oh, and Jesse's such a great athlete. At Kansas, he did everything. He was a 13.8 high hurdler. He was a 26-foot long jumper. But I'll tell you, he can catch the football. Watch this throw, and you're right. It's there. Good play. A lot of time before he got out of bounds. Remember, last week he made the big catch against the Falcons from Hayden.
1st down, Rams at the 37. Exactly 4 minutes to go. 10-3 Minnesota. Well, France jumped the count.
Jim Marshall, the old veteran number 70, is so quick coming off the ball that I think France just decided to try to beat him, and that time he got caught.
77 offense, false start.
Marshall might have a trick or two, too. You know, he might have move something under his hand a little bit, which the defense is allowed to do.
I would imagine he'd learned a few in those years. 224 consecutive games at defensive end. First and 15. Still that same 4 minutes to go. McCutcheon got one hand on it, but couldn't hang on. It was behind him.
A little bit of a forced throw. Hayden was, again, not under a tremendous attack that time. Pretty good pass blocking. Just threw it a little too high and behind.
For the most part, his protection has been excellent.
You don't realize what a world that is, though, for a quarterback that's 5'11". Chuck Knox knows, and Elijah Pitts knows. But looking up, there's Ron Jaworski. But looking up at all those big people around you can be confusing when you're trying to throw to one of them.
Second and 15. The ball is at 32 now. Last play burned 4 seconds. In the pocket with good protection again. Hayden fires for Jackson. Incomplete. Nate Wright was right with him again.
How far could Hayden have run that time had he just decided to put the ball away? He might have been able to run all the way to the Ram bench. You can see to the top there. Nobody was there.
He would certainly have been able to get a first down, don't you think? At least a 15-yard gain is what he would have needed, of course. So it'll be third down, and another one of those conversions coming up. At Hayden, the quarterback. It has been all day as both James Harris and Ron Jaworski are out with injury.
This is the game here, huh?
Just about. For Jackson, out of bounds.
Big pass rush, still didn't quite get there as the Vikings brought the defensive ends inside and the defensive tackles went to the outside, but Rams handled it up front. Good coverage again. That secondary sticking with those Ram receivers in good shape.
And so Los Angeles sends in Rusty Jackson again to punt. Leonard Willis goes back deep for Minnesota. Jackson and his average. 3:45 left in the game. The Vikings lead by 7. Jackson. James a pretty good one. Headed out of bounds. Bouncing in that direction. Now bounces back and rolls dead inside the 30, about the 27-yard line of Minnesota. Next week on CBS, we'll be in Los Angeles to watch the Giants take on these Rams. Rams then face Miami. That's the whole slate on the CBS lineup next week. Minnesota against Detroit. Green Bay at Cincinnati, Atlanta at Chicago, New Orleans, Kansas City, the Giants at Los Angeles, as I mentioned. St. Louis against San Diego, and San Francisco against Seattle.
You know, the Vikings have not had a turnover today. That's your fail-safe. That's how to win football games. Just don't let the other team have anything cheaply, huh?
That's what they always seem to do, is McClanahan butts straight ahead. Stopped by Dave Elmendorf. The clock is running with 3:25 left. Timeout situation shows the Rams with 2. The Vikings with 3 left.
Rams would rather not waste any with the defense if they can just force the punt and let the offense with Hayden use those as they make that last march, if there's going to be one.
Make it 2nd and 7 as the clock ticks down now close to the 3-minute mark. Foreman and McClanahan deep. McClanahan. Broke the couple. Got very close to a move. Fumble. I'm not sure if the ball was dead or not. I'm not sure the Ram offensive unit is coming on the field. It is Los Angeles football. Let's go back and look at that one.
Let's take a look at it. Here's McClanahan making one of the great runs you'll ever see. The extra effort may have cost him. Here's the ball now as Simpson's tearing at him. And Rod Perry comes out with the football and darn near tied it up. Foreman makes the push.
Foreman got him out of bounds, but it's Los Angeles ball at the Minnesota 11. First and 10 at the 11. 2 minutes and 44 seconds left. The Rams have 2 timeouts left. Minnesota has all 3 of theirs. They've been down here before and couldn't get it done. Hayden, Jackson did not get in.
Oh,
he might have gotten the first down.
Jackson put those small feet. Now, if he'd have been a big receiver like Carmichael with large feet, he would have scored. Watch this, a good throw by Hayden, a quick out to a very fast receiver. Now watch this little measurement going for the, ooh, he got a foot on the line and brushed through the flag.
Sure did. They rule it down at about the 1-foot line. The Rams break the huddle. It is first and goal now, inside the 1. They've been here twice before. Capoletti. Klein signals touchdown. Hayden signals touchdown. But thus far, no official has. It is going to be second down.
Jeff Seaman has been meeting all of those launch jobs right on top. And Capoletti may have gone high enough to where he tumbled over the middle linebacker and got in, but it's not there yet.
It's about a foot short. Watch this maneuver.
Now watch Seaman, number 50, going up and meeting the launcher at the very top. This time he couldn't get up to the pile.
Alan Page, who made the initial contact, so it's second and goal. I believe he got it again. It was Capoletti again. Wally Hilgenberg got it. He might have lost Jordan.
All right, let's take a look. Just the old immovable object. And the irresistible force right now is not so irresistible.
Hilgenberg and Seaman. So it'll be third down as the 2-minute warning has been issued. And the Rams are at the door, but not in.
Trucks.
Always dreams, sweetheart.
Tough Ford trucks. And Ryder tunes those trucks razor sharp, ready for anything. When Ryder rental trucks take off on a mission, there can only be one ending.
You nervous, Huckett? Nah.
Mission accomplished. Ryder, the best truck money can rent.
Budweiser presents Beer Talk. We know a lot of people say phooey on foam in their beer. They want that glass full up to the brim, but hold it. With Budweiser, you're cheating yourself out of half the fun and flavor if you don't let it kick up a healthy head of foam. Those friendly little Beechwood-aged bubbles are the brewmaster's pride and joy. And we'd sure hate to see you miss out on a single one.
With 2 timeouts left, the Rams have it third and goal. Minnesota leads 10-3. Third down. Bertelsen and Capoletti are the running backs, and Bertelsen gets the call. He is in this time.
I'll tell you, Hilgenberg came over the top, and that first shot, he wasn't in until that second move.
He went behind Hara and Williams.
It's really crazy, though. We're talking about the one time McClanahan fails to do the impossible and fumbles. The Rams came back and are going to try to tie it up. Look at this. Look at Seaman, Boom, and Hilgenberg. And now the effort by Blair. Super effort by Bertelsen.
Bertelsen got the touchdown. Dempsey will try for the tying extra point. Steve Priest is the holder. It is good. It is 10 apiece.
Dempsey knew he had to make that one. Otherwise, there's no plane back to Los Angeles.
Not for him. Score is Minnesota 10, Los Angeles 10. A minute 55 left to play in regulation.
I'm thinking about Shirley Knox, Chuck Knox's wife, back out on the coast, probably with some people over to watch her husband's team do battle. And if they got anything cooking at all, I guess they'll just throw it in the oven and let it go.
Yeah.
Right?
I hope they got some way to keep it warm. Minnesota with 3 timeouts left, 1:55 left in regulation playing time. And of course, if we end like this, 10-10 will go into sudden death.
Got to be a little bit careful with your kick coverage here, particularly with the people that the Vikes have back there.
They got White and Willis deep. A lot of speed. Tom Dempsey, of course, the Ram kicker who just tied it up 10-10. Dempsey hangs it high, and Willis is going to take it at the 18. Looking to get to the outside. He's caught from behind, breaks one tackle, still on his feet. Gets outside the 30-yard line. Don't forget all that on the Sports Spectacular next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time. Ali and Norton, an interview with those two.
No way.
Mount Everest Expedition, the International Superbike Championship, the Beldame, the Italian Grand Prix. All that coming up for you next week on the CBS Sports Spectacular, 4:30 Eastern Time on CBS.
What do you do if you're Fran Tarkenton now? What is your game plan? You don't want to lose it.
You haven't been able to run it. You got 3 timeouts. Really a lot of time as Foreman goes in motion. Tarkenton. Fine catch by White. Sammy White had to come back.
What makes Sammy run? I'll tell you, he's made some great plays for a rookie.
That is number 8. Reception number 8.
A little bit slow, some of the Rams.
Youngblood the last to get back. First down, Minnesota. Olsen got back. He jumped for a minute. Tarkenton fires. He's got McClanahan. McClanahan's got a one down in front. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
Simpson had to make the tackle after McClanahan did get to the sideline. Let's see who makes the good block on the outside, and let's McClanahan get out there. Here's the ball now. Watch number 33. Now, who gets the block right there on the outside?
It was Ahmad Rashad, I believe. Ball at the 33-yard line. Not quite close enough for Fred Cox yet. 1:15 to go. Clock is stopped momentarily, and here goes Tarkenton to Foreman. The draw play. Foreman falls to the 29-yard line.
Pat, we feel that Cox has to be somewhere between 40 yards and in. 35, which means that they've still got to move it about 5 or 6 yards, and they're going to try to get a lot closer than that. That's a pretty long kick, with the pressure he's going to have on his shoulders.
Right now it'd be 45 yards. They took a timeout. Minnesota did. It is, let's see, they've got 2 left. One thing Cox has going for him is a fairly strong wind at his back. And that certainly would help.
Does that make you feel better? That's really what is more important, that you feel like you're being assisted, right?
Psychologically.
Or did you really need it when you were kicking? Maybe you really
did. I needed all the help I could get.
I'm trying to find Cox on the sidelines to see if he's doing anything like a chiropractor would to loosen up.
Been in this situation a lot of times. Tarkenton, by the way, is 22 of 32 for 235 yards. Almost without a running attack. They know that the way to move the ball has to be throwing it. He's done that well, even with those conditions. Both teams have 2 timeouts.
Hacksaw Reynolds comes back in now. He's been over talking to Ray Malavasi and the defensive people, and Catlin upstairs. And there he is, the man of the hour. I wonder if he's even breathing.
He might take a deep breath after it's over. 2nd and 5. The situation, the ball at the 28. Tarkenton. Rashad fell down again. That end of the field was not covered last night when we had a severe rainstorm. And so it's going to be slippery. Rashad goes out. Lash comes in.
Lash is a good receiver, and you could anticipate double coverage elsewhere, like with Foreman and company. And the young man from Northwestern is a very sneaky, fast, good player.
Don't forget about our old friend Stu Voigt.
Yeah, that's right, the Phantom.
seconds to go on 3rd and 5, Minnesota. Scores tied at 10. Blitz is on. Monty Jackson, I believe, right with Sammy White.
What a great play, though. Watch Monty Jackson now. The young man, they say, is going to be the best cornerback. Step for step, reaches around, might have grabbed the receiver a little bit. You take what you can get when you're back there. Super effort.
Fred Cox with Paul Krause to hold. One thing you don't want to do on defense in a situation like this is be offside. You want him as far out as you can get it.
It's 35, so that's a 45-yard field goal.
Right. Krause right at the 45. 10-10 the score. No good. Sort of a knuckleball line drive by Cox, and the Rams will take over.
Artificial surface. Would he have been able to get the ball up a little better than he perhaps did on this?
Footing is very bad in that area, too. I think he probably would have been able to get the ball up on artificial turf because it sits up so much better. So Los Angeles takes over at its own 28. 57 seconds remaining on the game clock. Score tied at 10. Pat Hayden, the Ram quarterback. Capoletti and McCutcheon, the running back. Now what do? You've got to be careful here if you're Los Angeles. That's exactly what they're going to do. McCutcheon bangs over to the right side. See if they take a timeout.
Tell you, Pat Hayden may be in his first real pressurized situation, but he's going to age a lot. He went in at 23. He may come out at about 30.
2nd and 10. The situation now with 34 seconds. The Rams apparently are going to be content to run out the clock and put us into overtime. 10-10. Hayden taking a long time. Finally gets Capoletti. Capoletti springs into the secondary. Got his first down almost. And now the official has stopped the clock. And Minnesota has called a timeout with 12 seconds left.
Capoletti might have broken that, but Doug France had no idea that the fullback would be clearing like that. Again, watch the reaction as the Vikings really over pursue, and boy, they wall it off. The Rams, here's France and Capoletti. Yeah, he draws a little bit of a crowd. Boy, here's a bright young runner, I'll tell you that. John Capoletti.
About a half yard short of a first down when this all comes to an end.
Watch him cover that ball up. He's got to get France out of the way first.
Look how big France is.
Must be nice to have him on your side, I guess, huh?
McCutcheon goes out. Bertelsen comes in. Jackson goes out on 3rd down.
Tell you one thing, we know that Jeff Seaman and those fellows are going to be coming over the top. Wonder what would happen if you just stayed real low like I would and sort of, in a very chicken way, crawled between somebody's legs.
Very short yardage. 12 seconds. Ball at the Ram 37. Ram 37. Bertelsen got the first down and more. And now the Rams take a timeout.
And remember, you don't know what kind of range you need for Tom Dempsey. You know, it's in the archives that he can kick 163 yards. So anything inside the 50-yard line, you got a chance to throw Dempsey out there and take a wanger at a three-pointer and perhaps win it.
Certainly possible. They could get a first down, get out of bounds, and get Dempsey down close to the 40. He could reach it.
Well, the thing is, thered be no pressure on him, absolutely, because he knows he's not going to lose the game by missing it, and you give him a free stroke at it, and Dempsey might orbit the darn thing.
Except the same thing that Cox had going for him would be against Dempsey. He'd be kicking it into the teeth of a pretty good wind. Earlier this afternoon, it was about 23 miles an hour, and it'd be tough to get it there.
Weren't they supposed to have streamers this year on top of the goalposts, or have those blown off today?
Oh, they got them.
Oh, because you told me about that new rule every game we've done.
There's Tom Dempsey.
You know what he's thinking about is a new shrimp scampi recipe. He's one of the great gourmets of our time.
Is he?
Yep.
He and Rusty Staub want to get together. Jackson came back with a little message for Hayden. 8 seconds left on the game clock. Hayden goes back. Fires down, deep down the middle. Autry Beeman has intercepted it for Minnesota. No time left on the game clock. Beeman struggles outside of the 44, 45-yard line. He goes out of bounds, but the game has officially ended. We'll have sudden death.
Have you ever seen so many defensive players helping the guy run it back? It looked like they formed a wedge, like a kickoff, to bring him back up the field.
We'll take a 3-minute break. We'll have a toss of the coin, just like we were starting a new football game, except some of the uniforms are dirty. Comes Mick Tinglehoff and Jim Marshall out.
Boy, they're two, right? They should get extra overtime pay.
Yeah. And now here comes Tom Mack and Merlin Olsen out, representing the Ram offensive and defensive units. And we'll pick up momentarily what Fred Silva has to say to these 4 veterans.
Well, there's Olsen, 15 years on the left. Mack, only 11 years. He's the youngest guy in the group.
We're going to flip the coin again. Visitors will call. Each team will have 2 timeouts in the overtime period. Tails, heads, tails, heads. Who's going to call? In the air, please. Tails is called. Heads is thrown. Minnesota is won. Receive. Away we are.
Minnesota has won the toss.
I had a feeling they'd take the ball.
There was a situation once before in an overtime game where the captain won the toss and did not take the ball. I don't imagine he's forgotten that.
Three months ago, this lady couldn't run around our block. This morning, 3 miles in under 24 minutes.
Bloomington, Minnesota. The Rams and the Vikings. This is Pat Summerall with Tom Brookshire. The Rams and the Vikings locked at 10-10.
I told you it was going to be a sudden death.
Yeah, you did. What made you think that?
I just had a feeling that both clubs are such quality clubs. One's having to run the football all the time. One's having to throw it all the time. Both defenses were great, and I just had a feeling they were about as closely matched as you could be.
San Francisco 12. The Chicago Bears still leading. Score is 19-12. That's in the 4th period. Right here, Tom Dempsey. Tees it up.
Be careful of Leonard Willis. He's the young sprinter out of Ohio State.
He's the man stretching himself in the end zone there. Number 80. Back with him, Sammy White, number 85. Tom Dempsey, with the wind at his back, will kick it off from the 35. Sudden death is underway off the side of his foot. Sammy White has it at the 10. Wedge is set up on the left side. White breaks out of the pack out to the 45-yard line, and he almost broke the whole thing.
Cullen Bryant, the former defense. Overtime saving tackle.
So the Vikings will take it over at their own 46-yard line.
You imagine they've only had 39 yards rushing against the Rams all afternoon, but 239 through the air. They've really thrown well.
In the event you might have missed what Fred Silva said to the captains, each team has 2 timeouts in this overtime period. Score is 10-10. And the first person to score goes to a happy locker room. McClanahan went in motion to the right. Tarkenton looks deep. He's got White. Picked off, intercepted by the Rams. Monty Jackson. And back up and back down, and Jackson goes down at the 15-yard line. Los Angeles will take it over. First down at their own 15-yard line, make it the 16.
Let's watch him now. He's the young man from San Diego State that I've seen scale guys like Carmichael at 6'8" and play him. Now watch where he comes from the left of your screen to make the interception. Last week he had a touchdown on one down in Atlanta, but this one might have been more important because Sammy White had it under full gear. It's a great, great play by an incredible young athlete.
That ball was well thrown by Tarkenton. It was right there. First and 10 for the Los Angeles Rams. The ball in their own 16. They got a long way to go. John Capoletti gets the carry. Gets out to about the 19 before he's wrapped up by Alan Page.
We could cheat a little bit. We could show you that play from the first period, and you'd think it's the same. They've been starting out to the right and sort of going back against that pursuit. They didn't get too much that time.
Make it 2nd and 7. Rams at their own 19-yard line. Score is tied at 10 apiece. McCutcheon gets out to about the 22 or something like that, and we bring up a 3rd down situation again for Pat Hayden.
The Rams ran 70 plays in regulation time and rushed for 217 yards and barely tied the game up.
3rd and 5 will make it. A 2-yard pickup on that last one. The Rams had a couple of chances to put more points on the scoreboard. They had one 75-yard drive, one 76-yard drive. McCutcheon fumbled in the end zone one time. The Vikings just held them one other time. Hayden back. Outside to Capoletti. Capoletti stepped away from Nate Wright and got first down for Los Angeles.
Capoletti has good hands, too. A good throw this time by Hayden, who sort of staggered going back to set up. And I thought maybe on that dirt infield he might have some problems. But watch him take a little off the throw and still zip it enough to get it there. And now you don't have a problem because you got sort of a runaway.
Matt Blair came over to make sure that he got out of bounds. It's 1st and 10 with the ball at the 28-yard line. 12 minutes and 45 seconds left in the overtime period. Safety McCutcheon deep. Caught by Ron Jesse. Jesse gets to the 50-yard line and gets out of bounds by Matt Blair again. Official says he stepped out at the 49.
Good-looking play, Pat. Number 81, Jesse, comes in motion. Now, he'll be coming to the right of your screen, excuse me, and then he goes cutting through that zone. Now, watch Hayden pick him out. It's not an easy target for him to pick out. He did a reverse spin to find him, and now Jesse decides he's going to be a hero, and then he says, I think I'll go ahead and take my gain now.
1st and 10 Rams at the ball at their own 49. That's the final score. The Bears won their 2nd in a row, 19-12 over San Francisco. McCutcheon swings to the outside. Breaks one tackle. He's to the 40, to the 35, down to the 30-yard line. Lawrence McCutcheon.
Big Doug France must have done a great job at the left tackle. You're behind the defense now. Watch Seaman and them coming out. And somehow McCutcheon gets out clean and gets around the cornerback. Number 23 is fighting to get back the outside. I'll tell you, we told you earlier, he's a great conditioned athlete. Late, he's just as strong as early.
Ball at the Minnesota 30 with 12 minutes left in overtime. 10-10 the score. McCutcheon again. Found a little bit of running room. Sealed up by Doug Sutherland. He got inside the 30. Jeff Seaman also involved in the tackle.
Big John Williams, the offensive right tackle, played all his football at the University of Minnesota.
Sort of a homecoming for him.
I guess. Wrong team today, I'm afraid.
There's McCutcheon to the 25, and they are definitely within the range of Tom Dempsey now.
Now you're going to try to convert, well, you'll try to convert to 3rd down. It'll be 3rd and about a half, but you don't want to be too flamboyant.
No, sir. But Hayden just took a look over at Chuck Knox to see what it is he wants to do. I don't think he'd throw, do you?
If he can get people to drop off, he might unload it to a safety valve, a Capoletti again, or something of that nature. But I don't think he'd come down the middle for all the tea and shine.
Both McCutcheon and Capoletti are over 100 yards gained for the 2nd week in a row. McCutcheon gets the call and gets down to the 20. He got a first down. McCutcheon lunged.
All right, Rich Saul right snapping the ball. Look at Saul come out and cut off Seaman. Mack has already gone through. Capoletti seals off too. I'm telling you, that is not cute. That's not fancy. But that's how you might end up in a Super Bowl. That's what the Rams think.
Watch McCutcheon protect that football.
Here's the handoff. Fullback lead. Boy, that Mack is blocking today, I'll tell you. Always does, I guess.
All that offensive line has done a heck of a job. First down. The ball now at the 18 as Capoletti gets the call. Squirms away from Miller. Maybe got one. 9 minutes and 45 seconds left in this overtime period. Score tied at 10-all. Jeff Seaman on that last tackle. James White comes in. And Eller goes out.
And Monty Jackson intercepted that big pass in this overtime that sort of turned things around and gave the ball back to Hayden and company.
Cutchin and Capoletti behind Pat Hayden. Cutchin gets the call, gets to the outside, almost. Alan Page ran him down. Along with Jeff Wright again. That day he's had.
Hey, if he doesn't make that tackle, our sudden death is very
Settled.
sudden.
Yeah. Third down. Been a great broadcast for us, I know. Tarkenton and Bud Grant looking on. Produced by Chuck Milton. Directed today by Sandy Grossman. They do most of the work. Capoletti slipped momentarily, got down inside the 15-yard line to about the 13, where it'll be fourth down. And enter Tom Dempsey.
Look at Dempsey now. He's carrying about 260 this year, but he used to be a wrestler, and he's from Palomar JC, junior college out in California. This guy's not just a kicker. He is a fiery competitor. If he does miss this, he might go ahead and kick somebody. He wants to win. He is quite a person, quite an unusual man, and he knows it.
Steve Priest will hold it, kneeling at the 20. So it's a 30-yard field goal. Block! Nate Allen blocked Dempsey's field goal attempt.
I believe James White sort of helped Nate Allen get started a little bit, and not illegally, but got him high enough to where he made the block. Here's Dempsey now. Priest puts it down. A little bit of a high snap. I'll tell you, there were several people up there.
Nate Allen. And so Minnesota takes it over in overtime at their own 20. Flanagan goes in motion and Tarkenton goes right back. Firing deep in the direction of White. Nothing doing there. Elmendorf back with it.
How about Tarkenton, huh? Going to play it close to the vest, right?
He doesn't know what that is.
He's 22 of 34 for 239 yards. And you just can't do any more on the field for the coach, Bud Grant, than Fran's done this afternoon.
Bud Grant stomping away on the sideline. Sandy White is out. Straight ahead is Chuck Foreman. He tried to make those almost legendary cuts, and the turf is just a little bit too soft for that.
I think the Rams may have blown the stunt up front that time. It looked like Hacksaw and Reynolds and Brooks got mixed up a little bit on a maneuver on a play they had on the line of scrimmage, and it opened up that hole. I guess you're just glad when Foreman doesn't get any more than that.
Especially when he gets loose in the secondary like that. Jim Lash and Sammy White come to the left. To Foreman. First down, Minnesota. Dave Elmendorf made the tackle, but Chuck Foreman out of the backfield got the first down.
And remember, because of Yary and Riley, we haven't seen a lot of Youngblood and Dreyer, the two big rushing ends by the Rams. So Fran is able to dance around and pick out smaller targets, not get all the big chunks of yardage, but he is doing a masterful job of it.
Ball out to the 36. We have 6 minutes, 35 seconds left in overtime. There will be just one period. Here comes reverse. It is Sammy White. And there is Brett Dreyer, who stayed home.
Fun thing to watch, though, is Freddie Dreyer. He gets a lot of controversial press sometimes, but watch him around young kids and all. He's a great teacher. They respect him. He's a super guy, and all things aren't what they appear to be sometimes. He's a credit to this game like a lot of people are. He's a super guy. He can play, too.
So very quick. Second and 14. Tarkenton in the direction of Jim Lash, underthrown. Right out there with him was Rod Perry. See what Brett Dreyer was up to.
All right, Dreyer took the inside. He was trying to bury the tight end. But Ali Norton.
Stu Boyd right up in his face. Boyd looked like a pretty good pass blocker that time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Might come back as a tackle sometime.
Foreman is flanked now, either to draw double coverage so they can work to the top of the screen, or
Tarkenton's going to take off. Got the first down and more. Down inside Ram territory. Stopped by Elmendorf.
Ooh, and Elmendorf wanted him bad, and Fran Tarkenton knew it. The biggest rush of the day by number 10. All right, let's take a look. Pretty good pass rush now. Rams are coming. Hacksaw Reynolds is firing from the linebacking spot. Now Fran decides to run, and watch Elmendorf now zero in on him, and Fran knows it. Look in the rearview mirror. There it comes.
See him looking around as he was running. He got the first down. The ball of the Ram 48 now. First down, Minnesota. Sudden death. McClanahan goes right straight ahead, and Merlin Olsen wraps him up.
Okay, basic play, overtime. There's 4:43 left in this sudden death. McClanahan, who has moved in to be the other back.
Olsen just straightened Ranieri right up and overpowered him.
Still do it all, and perhaps playing at the lightest weight of his career. Imagine Merlin Olsen's about 250 and playing maybe better than ever.
Certainly hasn't lost anything. Second and 8. Foreman circled around behind Olsen. Circle around and maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. It's still Minnesota ball. You maybe saw the ball pop out for a minute, but they had blown it dead.
Tell you, the Rams as a defensive unit, they just chase you till something happens.
Look at that situation in Denver. 46-3, that's the final score. Over the New York Jets back home.
Third down conversions, the Vikings have done it 7 of 18. Most important of which would be this one. The rest of them don't mean a thing now.
3rd and 9 at the 47. That time he had no place to go. He looked, ducked, jiggled.
Oh, Fran looked everywhere that time. And who got the takedown on the...
I think Youngblood. Watch it.
I remember these guys are really trying to do battle, and they want to win the game and all, but they have a pretty good chance to really hurt number 10 if they wanted to, and they don't. You get the job done. Watch Olsen grab him. Now Dreyer and Youngblood. They just sort of put him down in the bottom of the car.
Neil Clabo. Rob Scribner First time we've seen or heard from him today is back at single safety. Play ball. Hangs one high. Scribner's going to handle it. He does at the 10. Popped hard by Roy Winston. He's one of the tacklers, and by Wayland Hall, the other. So the Rams take over with 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in overtime at Bloomington, Minnesota. Both teams have 2 timeouts in this overtime period.
The Rams probably will have to do theirs on the ground, which might eat up most of that 2:55, should they be able to move it enough.
The first team to score, of course, is victorious. It'll be all over when that happens. If nobody scores, it'll stay like it is at 10-10. Hayden outside underthrown. In the direction of Jackson. 2 minutes, 52 seconds left in sudden death overtime. We're locked at 10, the Rams and the Vikings.
Hayden is getting a play assist this time. They didn't flash it. They sent Bertelson in with it to tell the young man, here is what we want, and perhaps to even calm him down, saying, don't worry now, you threw a bad pass there. Don't worry about it. Let's worry about this next play.
Reverse coming to McCutcheon. Heller played it well. Heller occupied. Sutherland came over to help. Let's see who made the tackle.
Big Carl's been just worked on that play 3 or 4 times. Not embarrassed, mind you, but no way they were going to circle him that time.
Matt Blair came over to make the tackle.
Well, that Heller, how many years has he been All-Pro? Since he came out of Minnesota.
Ever since he's been playing, I think. He got 30 years of experience in defensive end for Minnesota. Between Marshall and Heller.
Might be an audible by the young quarterback.
Straight back. Hayden looking. A blitz by Washington shot. Hayden is down at the 10. I don't believe he's hurt. Safety blitz by Autry Beeman.
All right, Beeman made this. The big thing is Pat Hayden hurt? Obviously, there are no other quarterbacks on that bench. Jaworski's over there with a broken shoulder, and James Harris still wasn't throwing very well, I didn't think, before the game.
There's Harris. The backup quarterback, I'm told, would be Rob Scribner. If anything did happen to Hayden. Rusty Jackson with his back to you, number 9, the punt. Leonard Willis deep for Minnesota.
Takes a lot of steps.
Line drive type kick in the direction of Willis. He gets away. No, he doesn't. A good play by the first man down on the coverage. That is Pat Thomas. Willis took a little chance right there.
He's got the speed, though, to take the chance. Just a good thing Thomas was right there. You give him about 10 yards of running room, and he'd be all over.
So the situation is this. Minnesota ball at their own 35-yard line. A minute and 53 seconds left in sudden death overtime. We're locked at 10. And 53 seconds left in the overtime period. Viking ball at their own 35. Fran Tarkenton still the quarterback. Handoff to McClanahan, and McClanahan has the first down after the 45.
That time, Yerry did a good job on Youngblood, and there was a lot of room for McClanahan to motor inside.
Vikings line up quickly. Waiting for the yard line markers to be moved. Tarkenton goes back to pass. Down the middle, Stu Boyd wide open again. Breaks one tackle, gets down to the 22-yard line. The amazing Stu Boyd.
Well, you're never going to collect his gum card, and he's never going to be in the Hall of Fame. But I'll tell you one thing, he's always around, and particularly in the tighter games.
Pulled up in that zone again, and Tarkenton ripped it.
Let's take a look now. And again, the Viking offensive line appears to have really picked up the tempo in this drive right here. There's Voigt making sure no fumble. Tell you what, he isn't easy to put away either.
Oh, he isn't. Minnesota has taken one of their 2 timeouts. Tarkenton went over to the bench.
Well, that would be about a 36-yard field goal if they would stop right there and think about a Fred Cox attempt. But 2 or 3 plays later, he's still going to have one from inside, let's say 30 yards around there. And that must be what Fran is talking about, even though the breeze is right in his face.
Here comes Francis back out. 1:25 left on the sudden death clock. Vikings have 1 timeout left now. Both teams have had chances. The Rams were down close. Nate Allen blocked a Tom Dempsey field goal from 30 yards. And that put us into overtime. Tarkenton. Outside, Rashad got it. Good catch, good throw. Monty Jackson on the coverage.
Perfectly thrown football, and Ahmad Rashad, we've told you, is a big, fast back. Good hands, always did. He just turns out from this receiving spot, and Monty Jackson just can't do anything about it. That's a very fine offensive play.
8-yard pickup. Make it 2nd and 2. The ball at the Los Angeles 23. Right now, it would be a 40-yard field goal by Fred Cox if they tried it from right there. 1:20 left on the clock. Back is Francis. For Rashad. Jack Reynolds got back just in time.
There he is. Boy, Hacksaw must want to eat that football right now. He had a chance to really put this drive away. By the way, the blocking for Fran Tarkenton was excellent.
1:16.
Really good.
It has been throughout the day. Really, you talked about before, we haven't heard too much from Dreyer and Youngblood. That's a tribute to Steve Riley and Ron Urey.
And Goodrum and Tingelhoff. And the thing they're doing is they're attacking the Rams. They're going right out on fire blocking and popping them.
3rd down. Tarkenton fakes to McClanahan. They've got a 1st down. Foreman out of bounds at the 11-yard line. The Vikings getting close.
All right, watch this play now. Again, Kay is a young linebacker, and number 52 followed Stu Boyd a little bit too much inside. And now Hacksaw Reynolds is responsible all the way to the outside, and Foreman just could cover too much ground for the middle linebacker.
Dave Elmendorf made the tackle. 1:10 left on the clock now. Now the pressure goes back to the Vikings bench and to Fred Cox unless Tarkenton can score. He fires. Picked off by Rick Kay. Kay was back.
I think they should call that a touchback. If the impetus of that ball carried the Kay into the end zone, the ball should come out to the 20-yard line. But they're going to call it on the 2, and there's going to be a big argument on this.
That's what Elmendorf is talking about right now. And that's why he's arguing. Kay fell down. The officials rule the ball is dead at the 1-foot line.
The great thing about Kay was at 6'4", he sort of died in there and didn't act like he was in the right place. And he's tall. Watch him racing back to the left. Now watch this. Now suddenly he loops up. Now watch the impetus carry him in there. I think the Rams have a big, I think they have a complaint coming.
I agree with you. Here it is again.
Boy, what a big play. Of course, from Colorado, too, you know that. Very intelligent.
The Rams take it over at about their own 1-foot line. 99+ yards away. Hayden just quarterback sneaks straight ahead. 1 minute to go.
I guess you don't have a recourse, and we're not trying to second-guess the official completely. It just appeared that was not a difficult call to make. What recourse does the coach have?
None?
None, really. The play is the play, huh?
It's judgment. 1 timeout remaining for Minnesota, 2 for Los Angeles. It seems that the Rams are going to be content to just run it out and settle for a tie. But they got to feel lucky. It's not really settling for a tie after that interception by Rick Kay. And again,
could you write a script for this one? You couldn't have matched two teams better in every department. And the coaches brought them in here with, come on, this is the biggest game maybe of our whole season on the second weekend of the season. It's tough to get ready for. They did it.
Minnesota called timeout, and that's all they had. 19 seconds remaining. The Rams will be content to run it out. Pat Hayden talking with Chuck Knox. The score is 10-10. His debut hasn't really been auspicious, but it hasn't been bad.
You know.
Ducks into the middle of the pile. The Vikings, however, are out of timeouts. Not a very popular choice for the Viking fans who, of course, know that they're just trying to run out the clock, and the clock continues to go with 5 seconds, 4 seconds now. 3, 2, and that's the end of it. A 10-10 tie between the Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. For Tom Brookshire, this is Pat Summerall. Now we take you back to